Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. Tragic events have happened in our community over the last couple of days as Officer Nicholas Pepper was killed in the line of duty in Lafourche Parish. And here to talk more about his career and his life and how they plan to honor him in Lafourche Parish is the Sheriff of Lafourche, Craig Weber. So, Craig, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a tough time for everybody involved. Officer Pepper really touched a lot of lives, beginning here in Terrebonne Parish, and he's since moved on to your department. Can you tell me a little bit more about his career and his family and how much he will be missed for our community?
Well, you're right. It is a difficult time, and all of our officers are just really in pain from sorrow and just heart-wrenching loss with Nick's death. Nick was a phenomenal individual. He's best known for just being a dedicated father to his children and his family, but he was an incredible, talented investigator. Most of the young investigators went to Nick as a mentor. I described him to others as Joe Friday from Dragnet. Just the facts, ma'am. He didn't get emotional. He was very methodical. He was meticulous. He had like a near perfect photographic memory. He would study and analyze. He was almost OCD in how precise he was. I was speaking with our former district attorney over the weekend, and he said, look, when I got a case file, if it had Nick Pepper's name on it, I knew it was going to be fine. It was going to be solid. Everything he did was just very, very professional, and he was easy to work with. And Nick was a workhorse. He was the guy that showed up early. He was steady. He would keep his nose to the grindstone. He would leave no stone unturned. He'd work late. He'd come out. He also worked a lot of extra work, a lot of extra duty details to provide for his family. Tragically, Nick's father was killed in a car crash before he was born. Nick was 7 months. His mother was 7 months pregnant, and so family helped to support him and raise him along with his mother. So he really, really had a strong love for his family and devotion to his children. But he had an equally strong work ethic. I think his hobby was working and doing a good job. And Nick didn't discriminate in terms of the type of case he was investigating. It could have been what people would call a minor case, like somebody's lawnmower got stolen. But to that person, it's a major case. And Nick put as much effort and time into those cases as he put into a serial rapist or a major felony. He was just incredible, very talented, an asset to this community and not only to our agency, but the time that he worked at Houma PD in narcotics. I know he did exemplary work there. And before that with Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. And it was during that time he met Christy, his wife. She was a paramedic with Acadian. They started dating, fell in love, located to Thibodeau, where they have their family home. And both came to work for the Sheriff's Office. Christy is assigned to the District Attorney's Office, and Nick was assigned to Criminal Investigations.
So, yeah, and a beautiful family they have as well. So, our hearts go out to them as well. Now, on Wednesday, starting at 8 o'clock, you guys are going to honor him, starting at the cathedral. Can you fill us in on those plans or what you all plan to do honoring him?
Well, we're going to have a full honors funeral for a line of duty death for a hero that gave the last full measure. We won't spare anything in terms of the honors, and we're going to have honor guards from different sheriff's offices and police departments around the state and even beyond. We're going to have escorts that'll probably go a mile or 2 miles long. We're going to have honors by the fire department, and we posted the route that we're going to take from the church, St. Joseph's Co-Cathedral, to his burial place in St. James Chapel in Choctaw, so that people who live along the route could be there. We see that quite frequently. We're going to have a riderless horse. We're going to have the 21-gun salute, the folding of the flag, the final call. We're just going to recognize that this man deserves the honor that is befitting of a true hero who gave it all.
Again, at 8 o'clock, we're going to start at the cathedral, and it'll be almost maybe a 10, 15-mile ride for him.
Probably close to 15 miles. We're going to go down Highway 20, past the Chack Bay Church, and then take the Choctaw Road all the way down to the little chapel. So, and with as many units and motorcycles and people in the procession, going through there, I'm sure it'll take an hour or so to get there, which is pales in comparison to the sacrifice that Nick made. The church service starts at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. I'll be delivering a eulogy just prior to the beginning of the actual Mass. And then on completion of the Mass, we'll go to the cemetery where we'll do full honors with a 21-gun salute and the presentation of the flag and the final radio call.
And as you say, this is be a great way for folks to line the highways. Most people know that route. A great way to honor a man that, as you said, gave his all for our community. So a very trying time for what you guys are going through, but a great way for any community members, if they want to pass along their last condolences, we'll be able to see the procession tomorrow.
And we experienced a little bit of that on a smaller scale yesterday when his body was transported from the autopsy to the funeral home for preparation. They had people standing along the highway paying honors as well. I must say, what a great community we live in. I have not stopped receiving text messages, emails, phone calls, and well wishes from the time that this horrific tragedy occurred until as we're sitting here today, and I'm taking the ringer off my phone. We are blessed, and I know Terrebonne's no different than Lafourche, to have a community that supports the men and women who wear the badge, that has your back, they're behind you, and they've just had an incredible outpouring of prayers, support, financial support. People have made donations. There's a fund set up at B1 Bank on his behalf. And he was, a primary breadwinner, and he worked a lot of extra details. He won't be there anymore to do that, but the community is filling in, and I'm ever so grateful and just humbled by the outpouring of love and support.
Well, Sheriff, we appreciate you joining us during this trying time. Thanks so much for your service as well, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. I'll be there waiting with you and everyone else.
Okay. We'll be right back with more Bite Time right after this.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bite Time. I'm Martin False, and here to report, of course, everyone by now has heard the tragic story about Sergeant Nick Pepper, 44, who died Sunday, April 2nd. And he was born May 18th, 1978, a native of Houma, Louisiana, and a resident of Thibodaux, Louisiana. He is survived by his wife of 20 years, Christy Ardoin Pepper, his children, Patience, Gracie, Nicholas Pepper II, and his mother, Sharon Pepper. And of course, he was preceded in death by his father, Neil Pepper. And of course, if you knew Sergeant Nick Pepper, I had the chance to meet him through all of our news stories with the Houma Police Department for many years, and he was very dedicated to his job, to say the least. He served in law enforcement for over 24 years, working at the Houma Police Department, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, and continued his career with the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office as a detective sergeant. He received numerous commendations throughout his career. We had a camera on location out of respect for our fallen law enforcement officer, Nicholas Pepper, and we now show you some of the scenes of the procession, which included many law enforcement from around the entire state. We now leave you with that and send our condolences to his entire family, and certainly our condolences go out, and I know it's felt by a lot in this community. This is one of those events that you just can't put your finger on, but you understand in law enforcement that you put yourself in harm's way, and this is one of those times where harm's way certainly came knocking at the door, but we will never forget Sergeant Nicholas Pepper.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. We're always glad to bring to you, give you updates, especially in some of the news that impacts us in our community. Always glad to have Trooper Ross Brennan here. Thanks for joining us.
So thank you, Al.
Appreciate it, Trooper. All right. Of course, Public Information Officer for Troop C. Listen, I know that Troop C has been involved in coordinating, and y'all have been kind of the main lead on investigating this incident that took place on Sunday, April the 2nd, where we lost the life of a gentleman, Sergeant Nicholas Pepper. Tell us a little bit more as we kind of recap what happened in your investigation.
Yeah, like you said, state police, we were called shortly after the incident occurred, April 2nd. Started off with a pursuit that originally in Home Police Department's jurisdiction, ended up coming up through LA1, the Thibodaux area, and involved additional Home Police, also Lafourche Sheriff's Office. At some point, the subject, he did stop. There was some negotiations that went on, and then from there, the suspect began to accelerate from that scene, and as you said, collided with Sergeant Pepper,
right,
ultimately causing his death in that incident. So yeah, state police definitely, our detectives were involved and to help investigate. The subject, he was arrested. We released that identity, 33-year-old Anthony Savoie of Berg.
Right.
He's been in custody ever since the incident occurred.
Right.
He was injured in that crash, so he was transported to a nearby hospital. In addition to state police that provided some security and observing him, Thibodaux Police Department also lended us a hand too. So he had round-the-clock security with him, make sure that he didn't leave that hospital. Once he was able to be medically discharged, he was transported to the Lafourche Parish Jail, where he was booked on the following charges: a first-degree murder of a police officer, attempted first-degree murder of a police officer, aggravated flight from an officer, and there's another charge, a warrant for failure to appear. That's through Terrebonne Parish. That's a warrant through them.
Okay.
So in this particular case here, he was booked in Lafourche. However, he's being housed in Terrebonne Parish. So I guess to have outside agency looking into it, Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is actually going to be the one doing the criminal proceedings from here out. So it's not going to be the Lafourche Parish District Attorney, and he's not going to be housed at the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office at their jail.
Right.
So it's going to be done through the Terrebonne Parish court systems and things such as that. Yeah, a lot of different agencies helped out for sure, especially that night. I mean, whether if it was Lafourche Sheriff's Office, State Police, there was Nichols Police Department, Thibodaux, Terrebonne. A lot of people came out that
Coroner's
night.
office,
Coroner's
Acadian.
Office, Acadian.
Right.
Multiple different agencies. Anytime you have a major event like this, everybody really comes out and tries to lend a hand in some type of way.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are asking, they want to know, what is this guy's bond set at? His bail is set at $5.6 million. That in and of itself, I think, says a lot. It says a lot about the gravity of the situation and the fact that one of those who serve every day, many years of service, 24 plus years of service, who lost his life helping out.
Yeah.
He heard about the situation and was helping out the rest of his men in blue, and he lost his life in the line of duty.
Well, I understand that he was actually working overtime.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. Occupant or impaired driver overtime, trying to get impaired drivers off the roadway. So it wasn't even a normal shift that he was working that night. But there was funeral services that were yesterday on Wednesday. Hundreds of different agencies showed out just to show their support. Multiple members of the community also showed up. So it's extremely tragic when incidents like this occur in our area, but it's always good to know that the community and other law enforcement agencies show up to help show that support as well.
One of the things that I talked about, some of the people that stay out or on the road many days are often, one of those people we got an email chain that went through about stopping and making sure that we thank those people who do that work. I was fortunate enough, there was a gentleman at the jail, Lafourche Parish Jail, and it just dawned on me, he stopped to help somebody and give them directions. And I just drove by and told him that we were thinking about them and their sheriff's office family and all of those things and the people that were impacted. Of course, Nicholas had a wife and 3 children. That's just some of those things that it really drives it home to these rather senseless incidents and accidents, because this gentleman made the decision to not negotiate, to not really listen to what was being told to him, and he sped off, rammed into the police officer's vehicle, sheriff's office vehicle, and ultimately took his life.
Yeah, and that photo there, that's actually Sergeant Pepper's handcuffs. They used his own personal handcuffs to transport the subject that started all this. So, yeah, talking about, you know, if you I think it'd be a good idea if you see somebody with Lafourche Sheriff's Office, just if you feel inclined, stop and just say, hey, look, we support y'all, praying for y'all, things such as that, especially during this time for them.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, it's one of those times that, you know, as we approach this holiday season, this Easter holiday season, Holy Week, and we think about the people that have these tragic losses. Trooper, I know y'all deal with that all the time, but when it comes to one of your own, I know that hits home a little bit more.
Yeah, anytime. And in fact, even today in Baton Rouge, they are having the funeral service for those two Baton Rouge police officers that died in a helicopter crash.
Right.
So, unfortunately, recently there's been a lot in the state of Louisiana, and anytime you know, you lose a law enforcement officer, it hurts the other ones and stuff too. Just you feel like you're losing a brother in a sense, but. Yeah, we'll pull through this. We're a resilient community down here, and it's always like, again, we're already feeling the love from the community and the support, and that's one good thing that we have down here.
It really is. It's one of those, the family atmosphere. We know that everybody in blue is working hard to keep us safe, to do a job, and they have a high-risk job. We thank you. We thank your teams for what y'all do, and we always appreciate the updated information, because I'm glad the public is able to do that. So, again, thank you, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those men in blue doing that job every day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Trooper. All right, guys, and that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more when we continue right here on HTV. Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Thank you for joining us, however you may be joining us. We appreciate it. And you know what? It's always exciting to find out about new things happening in our area. I want to tell you a little bit about it. So today we went out to LA Ship in Houma, where we got a tour of how they're building this new and upcoming first ever service operations vessel called an SOV. Its whole job is to support technicians servicing offshore wind turbines in the Northeast of the United States. So now let's take a look at how this process is actually being done.
So this is where the process of building a boat really starts. We back trucks in here and bring in plates of steel. So we have steel on the ground here. On your right, there's a cutting table. So all the pieces of steel on the boat are cut on that table, and on your left over here we have a plate roller machine which can bend the plate and shape it. Where we take pieces of steel and stiffen them up and shape them to start getting the form of a boat. So you're gonna see, as we start this panel line, you'll see just regular plate. We start welding it together. As we move down the line, we weld angle iron and bolt flat onto it to give it some strength. And as we go further down the line, then we start adding other pieces, girders and other sections of plate to start forming the boat. That makes a panel. At the end of the line, you have a panel. Once you have 4 or 5 panels, you put them together and you make a unit. It turns into a box, which is what we call a unit here. Once you have several units, you start turning them into the boat.
We thank you for watching that with us. Kind of want to let you also know that they have these steel plates, and they show how they get welded together with some really amazing machines. We turn to Whit Carter as he explains a little bit more about that process. Whit?
So we have this machine here. It's called a one-sided welder. It welds multiple plates together to give you a larger piece of plate to be able to start working on it. Because welding by hand would take a lot of time, they just tack it. They just put a little small bead on there to hold it in place. Then we move to this, which has 4 robot welding heads on it, torches, which will weld 4 times as fast as one person. And we start installing girders and other pieces to stiffen up the pipe. And pieces like this. This piece right here is an example of what's being cut over there on the cutting table. every single panel has a design and a drawing that goes with it. So they know to make this, we need 14 of those, 8 of these stiffeners, all ahead of time. Purchasing gets everything here, and then it starts going down the line and the pieces start being put together. Now you have a panel. As these panels come off the line, they'll need to go through a vertical blasting machine. So we're gonna lift these with a crane and run it through that machine, and it sandblasts it. As soon as it comes out the other side of the sandblaster, we put some holding primer on it so that we can start turning it into a unit.
Well, thank you, Whit. We appreciate that. Now, on the boat itself, it's got a tower that allows people to walk across to the windmill safely. And Whit Carter tells us a little bit more about that as well.
Use its thrusters to stay in exactly the same position. And then we have a tower that's going to go in this hole right here. The tower has an elevator inside and a gantry at the top. So the boat will position itself next to the windmill. The gantry will extend across to the windmill and push against it so that it's a rigid connection between boat and windmill. And that way it's hydraulically compensated and the boat is dynamically positioned so that the boat stays within 1 meter and the crane compensates for the waves and the swell and the wind to stay alongside the windmill all the time. So they'll ride up the elevator, walk across to the windmill, do what they got to do. The boat can pull away and leave them there. They can work for a half hour and then come walk back. It avoids having to have a crane on the windmill to physically lift someone up off the back deck and swing them onto the windmill. It's just not the way the design of the windmill is. It's too small to make that happen. So that's why this is purpose-built boat so that people can walk to work on the windmills. These are just some drawings here. So each of these units, like you see, this is unit 21 right here. Each of them has a set of drawings. Each unit has a set of drawings. So you have gray water and black water and piping. This is just for the pipe department here for this boat. So you have this similar drawings for electrical, for structure, for carpentry, for all the crafts on the boat. So there's a tremendous amount of engineering that's done to make this happen. And everything's drawn out on paper, and then parts are ordered, and then the guys read the drawings and put the boat together as it's designed.
All right, we thank you for that. There's also, on this boat, they have what's called a Schneider propeller that Whit Carter will go a little bit more into detail about this very special propeller.
One of the differences is the Voith propulsion units in the stern are they're not just a propeller that pushes thrust backwards. You have to look them up online to really understand them. It's called VOITH. They have a nice animation on their website that shows how it works. But basically, it has some blades that are vertical that spin, and as the blade changes its angle, it pushes thrust in whatever direction you want. And so that makes it real economical and maneuverable as far as keeping this boat alongside the windmill. Another thing that this boat is different from a normal PSV are the accommodations.
All right, and that's a great update from LA Ship. We appreciate you joining us. And that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on HTV. Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And it's one of those times when we like to bring you up-to-date information as soon as we get it. Always so very glad to work with local law enforcement, especially when it comes Houma Police Department with Chief of Police Travis Terrio. Travis, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Tell us a little bit about, I know there's been an ongoing investigation, and the good news is we've gotten some news and then some better news here just over the course of a few hours.
Right. So initially we had the shooting that occurred on April 24th, which was Monday around 3:00 p.m. that claimed the very young life of 16-year-old Sidney Nelson Jr.
Right.
in the 2600 block of Payne Street.
Right.
And I can tell you that our investigators and pretty much our whole agency has been working tirelessly to try and bring closure. It always hits a little closer to home whenever you have these kids that lose their lives
16-year-old.
to some kind of street violence or something like that. And as a result of the investigation, they obtained 2 arrest warrants, one for Onyx Smith, 18 years old, and the second one for Tristan Butler.
Okay.
This morning, I think around 8 o'clock a.m., we did a press release, and immediately after the press release came out, we were contacted by a family member, and Tristan wanted to turn himself in.
Wow.
We sent units to that location. He turned himself in to officers peacefully. No one was injured, which is the way we love for things to go.
Right.
And he is now incarcerated to await trial. Still at large is Onyx Smith. We're hoping that he does the same. And because the last thing we want is for anything to happen to anyone. We always want a peaceful ending.
Right. So 19-year-old turns himself in.
Yeah.
Onyx Smith now an 18-year-old, but 6'3", but 167 pounds. And again, if anybody's got any information, please reach out to HPD. You can do that through Crime Stoppers as well. But we would love for you to kind of let us know. And quite frankly, we always want them to turn themselves in.
Exactly. We always hope for a peaceful resolution, and at some point we hope to reach these kids that are either, if you're on the wrong side of it, in the fashion that you're the one that's the aggressor, you're throwing your life away, and then we have such young kids with promising futures that are losing their lives, and the families are suffering.
Right.
I think we're all parents, and I couldn't imagine having to bury my child or go and visit my child in prison for the rest of their life.
Yeah. And again, this is just one of those ways for us to kind of let people know that there are updates in this ongoing murder investigation.
Yep.
And that took the life of this 16-year-old. And I got to say, with this quickly, because we're talking in a short period of time, we were able to gather a great deal of information, identify the 2 people who were wanted, put out a warrant, and very quickly one of the 2 of them get them to turn themselves in.
Yes, absolutely. I'm extremely proud of our investigators and the work that they did on this case, and the way it's all coming together. It's really good, and we're just not going to have this type of thing. And our investigators have pretty much made the statement they're going to do whatever it takes to bring closure.
Right. And get these people off the street. Jason, let's do that. Put that up one more time again. The gentleman that was, our warrant was shown, Onyx Smith, right now, 2nd-degree murder, which is a felony, 18 years of age, 6'3", 167 pounds, spells his name A-N-O-X, Smith. If anybody knows anything, or if you can maybe convince him, if you know him, talk to him. Let him know to turn himself in, like the other gentleman did. Want to show that picture as well of Tristan Butler. He is 19 years old, about 5'5" and 110 pounds. And so just to let you know, he has been arrested. He turned himself in. As Chief told us, he did that without incident this morning. Yep. Again, a peaceful resolution to a very difficult situation that took the life of a 16-year-old.
That's right. And if you notice this, I think there's been a total of four press releases done on this so far. So we're going to keep the community updated as best we can. Whatever details we can release, we will release, and we're going to do it in a timely fashion.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me. People always want to gather more information. They want to know everything you know. It's not possible in these ongoing investigations for so many reasons.
Right. And look, and one of the main reasons is we want to make sure that we do we have a fair investigation, and we don't want to put anything out.
Right.
Because we want to make sure the information that's coming back to us is accurate.
Right.
So if we're not going to put out too much information, and we're going to get the same information that we put out returned right back to us.
Right. And you got to do your due diligence.
That's right.
And fortunately, of such a dedicated team of investigators trying to find out everything that's happened and really dig, and just being able to identify those 2 individuals, and again, one turning themselves in, the other still at large, is just, it's good news. We want the better news.
Right.
And the other one turning themselves in or to be apprehended. And the even better news to prevent these from happening again.
That's right. And look, I'm crediting our investigators because they did a great job. But if you would have seen the way our whole department worked well together, it was truly amazing. from car patrol to our crime scene division, narcotics division, they all came together and worked together as a team to bring closure to this event, because the community as a whole, they're not happy with what's going on out there with these young kids on the street.
Right, right. And again, it's those teams, we brag all the time about all of the different aspects of law enforcement that work so well together. It's really nice to hear internally about the teamwork that takes place, because it's a difficult job. It is not an easy job. No matter what you do with HPD, it's a hard job to do.
Absolutely, and we truly have a great department. I'm very proud of them.
Yeah. Well, and we should be. We're thankful for what y'all do. We thank you for your leadership, and we're really glad to have some success today. Hopefully good news as we move forward.
And I'll update as it comes in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. All right, and that will do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou Time when we continue.
All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. Lafourche Parish Sheriff Craig Weber announced one man is dead and another was injured in a shooting that occurred in Thibodaux on Sunday. And the investigation is continuing, but of course, joining us now is Captain Brennan Mathern of the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Officer. He is also the Public Information Officer. And Captain, good to see you. How are you today, sir?
Doing fine, Martin. Good to see you.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Obviously, not a good situation, and you never want to send out releases like this. But if you could bring us up to speed on what took place, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, this all went down on Sunday afternoon. Around 12:20, our deputies responded to the call. We learned that there was several gunshots that rang out in the 1300 block of Lassang Road in Thibodaux. Our deputies responded, and we obviously found evidence of the shooting. We also found two victims of the shooting. One had been shot in the gut area and was later pronounced dead, unfortunately. And another was shot in the calf, in the leg, in the calf area. And ultimately, that person was transported to the hospital and is expected to make a recovery. So our detectives responded as well and launched an investigation. And Martin, the latest is that we're continuing. We still have not made an arrest or brought any charges in this case. However, our detectives have, we believe, identified all parties involved. We believe that including the shooter. So at this point, we're continuing to build our case, and we have interviews left to conduct, evidence left to collect. And ultimately, we hope to bring charges and make an arrest in this case.
You know, we don't talk about it enough, but I know in Lafourche Parish, and I'm just maybe educating the audience a little bit, is that even when we used to ride with you all on the beat, when the beat was a popular show, the officers on duty in Lafourche at the Sheriff's Department have a large area to cover. It's not a small parish when you look at miles long, is it?
Not at all. And when you think about it, in this case, we actually got assistance from Thibodaux Police Department. They have, just per capita, I guess you could look at it, they certainly have more officers to patrol a smaller area, if you will. And so anytime that we have a situation just outside of the city limits, they will respond to assist. And the opposite is true as well. Anytime that there's a major event in the city, our deputies respond as well. But to put things in context, a resident from Golden Meadow driving up to La Rose, that's a good 20 minutes, and that's seen as out of the way. Our deputies that are patrolling the south area of the parish, for example, they have all of that. They have everything from even north of the Intracoastal all the way south to Port Fourchon potentially. So that's just one example. But yeah, we have a large areas to cover, whether our deputies are kind of positioned in the south, central, or north areas, which is how we divide up the patrol grid.
Now, logistically, when we're talking about this particular shooting, I guess it's just also to sort of educate the public. It becomes some meticulous work, and you're relying on people sometimes to give you information. But a lot of times, we all know that sometimes witnesses don't want to talk, a fear of being targeted themselves. So there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, that more work than I think the average person would understand.
Oh, no question. And that's something that we have to deal with a lot, especially in 2023. You know, not only are people watching a lot of documentaries, but people watch a lot of TV shows. And, you know, it's rare that we solve a murder after a commercial break. It takes a long time, a lot of meticulous efforts by our investigation team. The good thing is that we have some of the best detectives in the country, and you know, the methods that they use and that they used in previous investigations here in Lafourche Parish are being taught at the FBI Academy. So that just shows you the level of expertise that we have here in Lafourche Parish, and that's why I know anything that happens here, I know it's in the best hands with our criminal investigation department. But even in a case like this, you know, where we know everyone involved, we know all the parties involved, it's not a slam dunk. And we still have to do our work, and we still have to be meticulous in how we gather that evidence and speak to everyone involved and make sure that we have enough to come forward with that arrest warrant.
And you make a great point about being more educated on the police end of it, because obviously the criminals are more educated too, aren't they?
Oh, no question. You know, there's so many times where we hesitate to put certain aspects of an investigation out because we don't want to reveal that. But like I said, TVs, movies, documentaries show so much, and it's awesome, and it's really cool to watch. But a lot of times it's revealing some of the things that the public might otherwise not have known. You know, we can tell criminals, you know, that we lifted a fingerprint, but, you know, they might otherwise wear gloves. Well, that's the easy part. But when you think of the more complex investigations, that's a easy example to point out. But that seems like it's common knowledge. But these criminals are being better educated, and they're learning more and more how to potentially get away with stuff. And we're here to hope that they don't.
Well, and also with about 40 seconds left, you know, the old adage that sometimes the police get to the scene and it's already traveled 50 miles down the bayou. So the police have to sort of put their ear to the ground and listen. And there's a lot of listening that goes into investigations.
Well, and that, what you just said, is why we encourage people to call us right away. Even if it's something like a car burglary, don't wait too long. Don't wait until it's convenient. We want you to call as soon as possible so that the evidence doesn't have time to get weathered, or just, you know, evidence is fighting time. So the longer it takes to investigate, the longer it would take to potentially, the more difficult it would be to potentially gather that evidence.
All right, Captain Brendan Mathurin, thank you, and good luck, and good seeing you today, sir.
Thank you, Martin. Good to see you.
All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hey everybody, welcome into Bayou Time Sports. I am Harry McCullough. We have another state champion as a Lafourche team. The Lafourche Bassmasters came with first place in the high school division, the state championship, last weekend in Stevensville.
With a total weight of 21.15 pounds, your 2023 Louisiana Bass Nation High School champions from Lafourche Bassmasters, Brody Boudreaux and Peter Callahan. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever been to Masters? All right.
All right. You see those guys there. Now you see them here. Hey, congratulations, guys. Thanks for being here. So TJ Boudreaux's president of Lafourche Bassmasters, and I should have said Youth Bass Nation, right? That's who you guys work for. Brody Boudreaux is next, and Cooper Callahan, the 2023 Louisiana Youth Bass Nation High School State Champs. Congratulations, guys. Appreciate it. Hey, tell me about, now, this is relatively new sport, and it's not recognized by everybody. Lafourche Parish kind of has the entire parish, I guess, it can be on your team.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about bass fishing and how it became a sport in Louisiana?
Yeah, so when you think about it, our club was started in 2017 by a guy by the name of Ken Blanchard. Ken knew that there was high school fishing sports somewhere throughout the state of Louisiana because he was watching it. It's a fairly new sport, so Ken went to a couple of schools and said, "Hey, look, we really would like to get the kids fishing in the area." Those guys really didn't see it as a sport at that time. So Lafourche Bassmasters was started by Ken to get youth anglers fishing in the parish. And since then, I mean, it has grown. We got 42 anglers fishing today. We got multiple teams fishing every weekend. And, man, look, we got lucky, and now we got the state championship.
Just the state tournament had 135 teams. You had to qualify to get into that. So probably 500 teams across the country.
Yeah, so if you look at just in the state of Louisiana, I mean, it's a huge number, right, when you think about it. A lot of commitment from different people. But there's 3 divisions in the state of Louisiana. There's 3 tournaments per division. So there's 9 opportunities to qualify for the state championship. And I think there was 135 teams that qualified this year. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome just to have it, in Stevensville, right there out of Morgan City. A great spot to have it at Dwaro's Landing there. So, Brody, tell me about the tournament. So you guys, 2-day total of 21.15 pounds. So how much of a stringer is that?
We had 5 fish on Saturday for 8 pounds and 75 ounces. And then we came in the next day, the Sunday, and we brought in close to about 13, which brought us to close to about 21.
You guys win it by a lot?
We won about 4 pounds.
Right. So Lake Verret, where'd you fish? Now, I guess you could have run anywhere, but did you stay around Lake Verret and Lake Pelure and all those, or did you run somewhere else?
You can tell them.
Yes, sir.
Jane, give me the GPS coordinates. No,
right.
I'm teasing.
We kind of stayed around the Lake Verret side, kind of fished around the canals in the lake and stayed around
What'd
there.
you catch most of your fish on?
So
Pig and jig?
the Saturday, we caught them on spinner baits in the trees, and that afternoon we started catching them on frogs. And then the Sunday morning we went to the same place where we caught that Saturday afternoon. We started throwing frogs, and then we had 5 fish for about 6 pounds.
Wow.
And we had to decide if we wanted to stay or make a move. And we talked about it, and we made a move. And we started going to find some lilies to go punch and to catch some of the bigger fish to take some out.
Yeah, so start culling some of those fish.
Yes.
Yeah, I watch it every weekend, so I know, how you start culling things. Actually, I fished in a tournament in that same area, but about 30 years ago. So, Cooper, let me tell me about what you do now. Do you guys drive yourself in a boat, or you have a driver? How's that work?
Well, actually, TJ's the captain, so
You drive the boat.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the only thing we could do is use the trolling motor. That's about it.
I got you. I did the Skeeto Bayou Bass Challenge, like I say, a long time ago. And the guy fishing, when we took off, my eyes were, were watering. I was going, man, we're going kind of fast. But so Cooper, fishing in that area is some place you're familiar with. Was that an advantage for you guys?
I'm not really familiar with it. I didn't really fish it that much. I never really fished Lake Verret side that much. I'm more of a Bayou Black dude, so it was kind of.
You kept saying, we need to go to Orange Grove, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Now, they do put boundaries on you, right? I mean, they tell you can't go past Highway 90 and a bunch of different things like that, so which is good. But it's not an area we fish a lot, right?
Right. And it's a different kind of fishing, right?
It is.
Cypress trees.
It is, but at the end of the day, it's all the same, right, when you think about it. So we did some scouting prior to the tournament coming up, and we found some fish that were basically sitting underneath some lily pads, and we went back and we checked them like 2 or 3 times. They were still there, and we went Saturday, and we had the 5 fish for like 8 something, and then we knew we had to get to 20 pounds, right? So we had to get to 20 pounds. That was our goal. So last year, we fished the state tournament because we qualified. We were sitting in 6th place after day 1. Same situation again. And then we go to Monroe, and then the second day, we don't catch a fish. So we kind of learned from that, right, as a partnership. Hey, look, let's go do something different.
Yeah, y'all catch we're looking at some of these. That's almost exactly when I was fishing there. Frog through those lilies was a great way to go. And these are the plaques. But yeah, if you guys show me your plaques. And when we come back, so y'all, so you won a couple of tournaments leading into this, right?
We qualified. We didn't win anything, but we just qualified. So we were waiting for the big one.
We got another segment to go. We're going to find exactly where you caught those fish. I'm just kidding. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Bayou Time Sports. Thanks for being with us.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time Sports. Harry McCullough here. We're with the state champs, bass fishing here. TJ Boudreau is the president of the Lafourche Bass Masters, and then we got Brody Boudreau and Cooper Callahan. So, guys, appreciate it. So, where you go from here? So, now you win here, you go to a national tournament?
Yeah, so the national tournament, we just got notified of that this week. We go to Lake Hartwell, which is in South Carolina. So, it's a deep lake. It's a big lake. It's totally different than what we fish down here. But you can ask the kids. The day that the day that we got notified, hey, look, this is what we need to do. Then I send those guys a text and say, hey, we got to start studying, right? We got to look at YouTube. We got to go on Facebook.
Right.
We got to go see what people are catching them on. But at the end of the day, it's fishing, right? And these two guys are really good with finesse fishing, like finesse worms and throwing like a shaky head. So I think if we can take that and with the use of the live scope, right, new technology that we have. So
man,
it's a game changer, right? It's a game changer. So we're looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah. Well, Cooper, let me ask you, what's your favorite technique? And what do you like to fish deep water, or do you like fishing off banks?
I like punching. So
punching for folks would be like a bunch of lilies and you're trying to get like a jig or whatever down in the middle.
Yes, sir.
What a heavier weight, right.
And just find some thick matted cover and just punch it. Hope you got a bite, target some wood in it.
Yeah. So when you go to South Carolina, do you think that'll be different? It'll be deeper water and that kind of stuff?
No, yeah.
So what kind of studying have you done so far?
Not too much, but all I know is a wacky worm.
How old are you guys? Are you guys seniors?
17.
Oh, you're both seniors, so y'all about done with school, right?
11th grade. Got 1 year left.
Okay.
1 year left.
So you're not going to spring break. You guys are going to go to South Carolina, right?
That's right.
That's right. Not going to be in Panama City. Brody, so what about you as well? What techniques do you like?
I like fishing like we have back here, kind of fish on the banks, kind of throwing a worm and punching like he says, just to get the feel of catching the bigger fish, not more of the smaller ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, bigger baits, bigger fish. Is that how y'all kind of do things?
Yeah, I mean, it's, and look, I commend, a guy by the name of Tyler Revet, right? He's our local pro angler from Racing, Louisiana.
Right.
He just won an elite series in Lake Okeechobee. So, and then we also had a kid that just recently graduated.
Great resource.
Great. And then we just recently had a kid that graduated from Thibodeau High School, Levi Thibodeau. Just tremendous fisherman, very good. So it gave these two guys an opportunity to say, hey, I want to beat those guys, right? So we knew we had to beat them. We knew we had to catch them. And just watching those guys from a distance, they punch, right? And they looking for anything that's matted that the bigger fish just kind of pull up under as it gets later in the day, right? Everybody can go catch them in the cut. Everybody can go do that. But to get the big fish, in the middle of the day when things get hard, you got to slow down and you got to start punching mats, right? And they look forward to the big bite, right? And that's why we do it.
No, that's interesting. You guys both from Thibodeau, right?
Yes.
So where do y'all grow up fishing?
Majority of the Bayou Black.
Bayou Black, yeah, in Orange Grove and that kind of area.
In Lake Buff.
Well, Cooper asked, when did you start fishing? And look, most people around here are meat fishermen, right? We all go get specks and reds and whatever else. And bass fishing is a completely different game, right? You can't drink when you're doing it. You need two hands to do it. So it's a completely different game for a lot of folks. When did you guys start bass fishing?
Well, my freshman year when I went him, I grew up red
Really?
fishing. Yeah.
So you've only been doing it a couple of years?
Yeah. My grandpa used to take me out, and that's how I learned, casting, bait casting.
Wow. And Brody, what about you?
I started when I was probably around 10. Started fishing. Fishing with the cheap stuff until I got
of course, yeah.
older, and I started learning how to throw the bait casters and learning how to flip.
Yeah, because, those more expensive rods catch more fish, right?
That's right.
Do the same thing in golf,
That's
you
right.
get out driven, you got to go get another club.
Got to get a new club.
So let's take a look at some of the pictures and that from this weekend. And again, Dewalron's Landing, if people don't know, if you're going Spur 70 back from Morgan City and you're going that way through Pierre Park, about halfway there, Dewalron's Landing, and then you have access to a lot of the different area. But yeah, here's the pictures from it. And it must have been a great experience to be, 135 teams, so that's 270 kids, right?
Yeah, and the picture you see that's up on the screen right now, that's our overall team award. So what they do is
that's the whole Lafourche.
That's the whole
team?
Lafourche Parish. So not only these two guys won the state championship as individual fishermen, as a team, like those two, our total team came out first too as well.
Nice.
So what they do is they take the top 3 weights of each team that's from each area, and they add that up, and I think we won by less than a pound.
Really?
So we were kind of surprised when we were coming off of the stage, because it was like we getting over the excitement of just winning the state championship, and then I start hearing those guys howling. I'm like, what just happened? And they're like, we just won the team event too. I'm like, whoa, wait, too much emotion at one time, right?
Oh, no, man, that's great. And what a great way to participate in sports and to, from our area, this is a great way to do things. So great way to spend time with your kid on the water, teach things. And look, bass fishing is not easy, as we were saying. So you got to know water temperature, you got to know color of the water, you got to know baits and all that. So I guess comes where a coach comes in, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, and they got to be good listeners, right? They got to be good. They got to be dedicated, right? Because look, we can go out and we can scout and we can do, everything that we need to do to make the opportunity the right way. But at the end of the day, sometimes they just don't bite, right? Mm-hmm. Fish just don't bite. So, man, look, I told the kids on the way home, I said, look, you got to thank the good Lord for this one. I said, because he made the fish bite at the end of the day. It wasn't, we put it in front of their face and they just bit it.
Well, there's that 90-10% rule, right? Where the 10% catch 90% of the fish. I believe in that. Like I say, I did a couple of those tournaments. I'm fishing the exact same gear as the guy in front of the boat. He's mopping up, and I'm just back there.
It happens.
Paddling on the water.
It happens.
No, it's a great time, but there's some skill involved for sure. The field, and man, you guys ought to be proud of yourselves. So good luck on July 27th to the 29th in South Carolina. So guys, thanks so much for coming by.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of Bayou Time Sports. Thanks for being with us.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we are back. Bayou Time Sports. Edie White wins the state championship in boys baseball. We'll say men's baseball, because got a lot of good athletes on that team. So, Coach Matt Plitt, congratulations, man. What a treat for the school, right?
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, so tell me about the season. I know that's always the goal, but it's tough to get there, right?
For sure.
You got this school in Lafayette that's always in the way quite a bit, but y'all got past them.
We did. Big game in the semifinal game with St. Thomas More. Mm-hmm. We kind of discussed that. The guys kind of feel like St. Thomas More is more of a rival than Vanderbilt was at this point. So, good to get past that hump.
Yeah. And talk about the makeup of your team. I was looking at the roster quite a bit. You got some young ones that are getting a little experience too. They're getting to watch things that are going on, and they get to absorb a little bit when you get that state championship. That soaks in, doesn't it?
Definitely. Even not getting, if they didn't get playing time actually on the field, just being there and getting to experience that was awesome. But definitely senior-led, 9 seniors. So seniors did their job and answered the call.
Yeah. So y'all played Vanderbilt 3 times, and y'all won all 3. That's quite a feat too. But what were you telling your team as y'all started getting into the playoffs and all? How were you? Some kids need a lot of motivation. Some you don't say anything to. You leave them sit in the locker room. How did you motivate this year?
I think it was just the entire coaching staff before playoffs even started, just kind of hammer it into their minds that they had a legitimate shot of playing in the final game, and just keep harping on that every single day, and kids bought into it.
When did you sense during the season that they were starting to get that moxie about them? All teams that win a state championship, there's always a game or two that they get over the hump, and at that point, I think they got a hold of it.
I think some of those key losses, like we were talking about, I think after the Shaw game, losing to them kind of really motivated our guys, and from that point on, they kind of just stayed on it.
So a loss motivated them. That tells me a lot, too. They hate to lose, do they?
Oh, they definitely hate to lose.
Yeah. Sometimes I ask people if they like to win more than they hate to lose. And normally I get the answer, they hate to lose. So that's a motivational factor. All right, let's turn to Coach Barbier, Bryson Barbier. And tell me, what was it like? That 22 years since Edie White has won a state championship. I had a few cousins on that team back in Thibodaux, and so proud of them, but that's a long span, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, just being from around the area, being from Morgan City, knowing the history that Edie White brings and the tradition, it was really awesome to bring a state title back after 22 years. So glad to be a part of it for sure.
Yeah, we're all waiting on a couple of more players to come in, and of course they won a state championship, and I know some of the seniors probably having a little fun. So not everybody can make it to the studio, but we'll get them in here. And we also have Coach Rafe Blades, who's with us. And what did you see with this group? Is it a serious group? Some teams have a little fun. They have clowns in there that like to joke around. What is this team like?
Oh, definitely. We definitely know when to have fun and when not to, and when to be really serious. And as soon as we step foot on that field, we were ready to go and very serious.
Yeah. And situations, I always bring up situations in baseball where everybody has to know where you got to be, who you backing up, where you throwing the ball. And it seems like this team caught on to it pretty good. Huh?
Very quick. Very quick.
Yeah. So, and I want to ask the mayor. Mayor joined us today. What does this do for a city? You get sworn in as mayor. Edie White wins their first championship in 22 years. Are you going to use this as a political advantage? It seems like it's perfect, right?
I'm going to use it tomorrow at 5 o'clock at our city council meeting. I can guarantee you that. You know, it brings the community together. It gives people and community members who aren't in that mix or aren't part of the parents or players that you see, it gives them an opportunity to become part of a group, right? Even an old alumni from 1982 as myself, you know, we had a text string of all our baseball players that played in from 78 to 82, and we relived some of those moments just by, we weren't even at the games, but, you know, when they won the semis, we got to talk trash to each other, and then when they won the finals, it became it switched from talking trash to just how much we had in common and how proud we are of a group. That's made it. That's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to belong in the Edie White family. You said this earlier. Edie White family is a special family. Mm-hmm. So when coaches and these young guys, they might not realize it yet, but give them through 3 years, they're going to realize the feat, and the players. You're going to talk about this all your life.
Yes,
no doubt. Remarkable feat.
No doubt. I got a text from the mayor, and he said, what you want to put in the game, $1 or a Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I think that's what it said. And I said, Coca-Cola. But just for the record, my mom went to Mount Carmel. All my cousins went to Edie White. Yeah. So I love Edie White. But it was fun to bet you, but I owe you a Coca-Cola.
Absolutely.
And I might even throw a meal in.
There you go. I love it.
I think we just can't go over $60 because it breaks the law. So we'll keep it within that realm.
There you go.
All right. So we're going to come back in a little bit, and we're going to let the coach talk about the players. And we have a few players here. Then we're going to have some more coming up, and we're going to talk to them a little bit. A great state championship for Edie White. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, welcome back. And once again, we have members of the Edie White State Championship baseball team. They've arrived here in the studio. And man, I know we were laughing because they said they didn't know who what Achy Breaky Heart was, Billy Ray Cyrus, but they sure knew who Molly Cyrus was.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's the generation gap right there. And Coach, you have a few of your players here, and what were they? They seem like they accept coaching. You know, sometimes we get on the young athletes today, but you got a special group there, don't you?
got a great group right there, minus a few that aren't here, but just a great group overall, and really just as a team bought into everything that us as coaches brought to the table, and just did a great job.
Isn't that the excitement of coach? You know, you could coach and coach and coach, and some of them just don't get it or don't want to get it. When you get a group like this that absorbs, and then they start making road bumps, they start going over the road bumps during the season, and you see them progressing, and the confidence grows. And we have one freshman in the group who's picking all this up as it goes along. Isn't that what coaching's all about?
Definitely what it's all about, and it's exciting to see them, not like I said, as they bought in more and more, but doing it for something bigger than themselves, doing it for the program. So it was awesome.
And anyone has a program, like we said, 22 years, and they reeled off what? Was it 4 straight or 3 straight? Four. And 3 under one coach and 1 under the other, but it was a dynasty for a long, long time at EDY. All right, so let's meet some of the players that have come today, and we're going to start right here, and we'll let y'all introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Owen Thibodeau. I'm a senior. I play outfield and I also pitch. I'm a lefty. And I just got to say, man, that last game was awesome. I mean, our guys worked really hard all year, and I'm just glad to see it pay off in the end.
All right, thank you.
My name's Noah Benoit. I'm a junior. I play third base and also pitch. You know, last game meant a lot. Just all the hard work since January, just buying into what the coaches told us since day one. It's just something special.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name's Luke Thagu. I'm a pitcher and I play outfield. I'm a senior. And all the work we put in, really just put into words of what we accomplished this year. I mean, couldn't end any better.
All right.
My name's Lane Arsenal. Play first base and I pitch. It was a really hard off season, but it was well worth it. Great group of guys. Wouldn't want to go to war with anybody else.
My name's Tyler Weimer. I'm a pitcher in DH. Just a great year.
My name's Dylan Robichaud. I play outfield. We just had a great team, great group of guys. And we all just like bonds together as a family.
All right, well, let the back row stand up. There we go.
Name is Jack Strish. I'm a sophomore. I catch and play a little third base, and special year, a lot of hard work.
My name is Philip Hillman. I'm a sophomore. I pitch and I catch a little bit. It was a great year all around, and I'm gonna really miss these seniors.
My name's Evan Arsenal. I'm a freshman, play shortstop, and we had a great group of seniors to lead our team to a state championship this year.
That's a freshman handling that microphone like that, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
My name is Matthew Escher, play second base. Coach Plitt brought the pack system in, and we all trusted, and they preached whenever we got here. If we all tug on the same side of the road, we will be dogpiling at the end, and that's what we did.
Yeah, that's confidence, huh?
My name's Hudson Semino. I'm a freshman. I play first base and I pitch, and it was a great year.
How many freshmen you had?
We carried
5, I believe.
5 freshmen.
5 freshmen. That's unique. So let me ask you, let me go back to the crowd shot of the players that made it here today. Who's the one in the bunch here that would loosen everybody up before a game? Who's the clown that got everybody loose? So there's 2 of them. Raise your hand. Couple of them?
Yeah, more than one.
So you got a bunch of them. So let's hand the mic back up here, right here in the front. And how was it? How did y'all stay? That's part of the thing when you get to state, that you got to stay loose for the games, and because you could get so tense that you're not playing your game. How did the coaches and how did the players? How did y'all relax? Y'all playing Vanderbilt for the 3rd time. You're playing St. Thomas more. How did y'all relax?
Well, we always just try to have fun. Like before the games, I mean, of course you got to stay intense, you got to play with the intent to win. But you got to have fun too, man. It's the game of baseball, man. I mean, you can't not have fun playing baseball. Mm-hmm. And I think all of our coaches kind of just brought that aspect on us this year. Play the game with the freedom from the fear of failure, which is one of our key things that we learned this year. And we just had a lot of fun. And I think because of that, we played a lot better. And that's why we brought it home in the end.
Yeah, that's Pat. Let me ask you, when y'all were playing St. Thomas more, during the year. You said that sort of became the rivalry, and they got a great program. They got a lot of people to pick from. They're well coached. When y'all were able to get past that hurdle, what did that mean to y'all? Just describe in your own words.
Just special, knowing that they were one of the big teams to beat. They had a lot of confidence, a lot of tense situations against them in that game, and just that walk-off hit meant a lot to us.
Yeah, so what was it like after the game?
Oh, it was something special. Like, cloud nine. We were all on cloud nine, just hugging each other, crying. Just felt good to go back to Sulphur on Saturday.
Did Coach get you an extra burger for that win?
Oh, of course.
An extra malt? Yeah?
Of course.
Cool deal. Brings back a lot of memories. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come right back. And we have one more segment with the state champs, Edie White Cardinals, baseball champions. And I think Coach said it right, or the mayor said it right. They'll never forget that game. They'll never forget it. You can't never take it away. It's there. So we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we are back with the victorious Edie White Cardinals. They are the state champs in baseball. We're joined by coaches, the players, the mayor, and really, I got to go back to it's a moxie at Edie White. It's not cocky. It's confident. It's a confidence at Edie White that they've been having for years. You could sense it. Confidence breeds confidence, doesn't it, Coach?
For sure.
But that's school-wide, isn't it?
School-wide.
I got to give you a lot of credit on that. Y'all live it every day, don't you?
Every day.
And does the principal live it up to? What does she tell? What does Michelle tell you? Because I've had her on TV so many times, and Miss Chesson to the players out there. What kind of words of encouragement does she give y'all? Or I know it's curriculum first, but then sports, right?
For sure, but I think it goes beyond just Ms. Chesson. It's the whole administration. I've never been a part of a school that, pours so much into everything at the school, not just academics, everything. Everything. And I think that's where that comes from. Everything we do, we succeed really well at because they take the time to pour everything they have into everything the school has to offer.
Yeah. And let me go to Coach Barbier again. Parents can affect teams for good or for worse.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And there's always just been this passion at Edie White. Even when we were playing them at Vanderbilt, you could just see it's just a close-knit group. They want to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about the person, too. But a good group to be around, isn't it?
Absolutely. The parents that we had, the support from the beginning, from the fall, putting field work in, just being there whenever we need them, meals after games, the support that they showed to their kids, more importantly. You couldn't ask for a better parent group of people. So
yeah, let me go to Coach Rafe because I know your dad too.
Yes, sir.
And it's generational too. I think you learn from your parents and all that. But what about the coaching staff? The players sometimes when we played, we saw the coaches as stern, all business. But then as we got older, we realized they might have been having more fun than the players were. What's it like with the coaches?
Oh, yeah, man. We love that. Like I said earlier, we love to have fun. But when it comes down to it, as assistants, we're an extension of the head coach. So whatever he put in, we made sure that we drilled that into the guy's head. And obviously it worked. So
yeah, they bought into it, that's for sure. Let me ask the mayor. So you hinted that there's going to be at your regular meeting?
Yeah, council meeting tomorrow at 5. We're gonna recognize these guys a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, whole team.
Wow.
Coach, hopefully that athletic director. You referenced Edie White having kind of like a little moxie or whatever. That goes back from all the brothers that that threw erasers at us.
Yeah.
From all the principals and presidents. You know, you talk about Tim Robichaux and the job he does over there. You mentioned Michelle Chasson, the AD, Kyle Lasang, former ADs, all the former coaches, all those old guys. When you build and you got the fundamentals right and you keep adding to the puzzle, it works out. And it's worked out for Edie White over the years.
I thought we were the only students at Vanderbilt that got erasers thrown at us. Y'all did too at Edie White?
Oh, yeah. You could see Brother Linus throwing erasers. You could hear Brother John yelling at us through the halls. You know, hey, that was their job back then.
No more wax. I think we were talking about that.
Yeah.
No more wax at the school, right?
No, we don't do that.
Woo! Y'all don't know how lucky y'all are out there, for sure. Let me go back to the players, and let's talk about just the pride. Do y'all really realize what this does to a community when their local team wins a state championship? Do y'all grasp that? Or if you don't, I'm trying to tell you, it really helps the community. Do y'all sense that, what it's done? I mean, that's about a grad. Go ahead. Talk.
Yes, sir. I mean, just going out and running on a field and looking back to see how many people
Why don't you
came.
stand up for us? Yeah, stand up.
Just looking back at the stands at 2 o'clock and seeing how many people came to Sulphur to see us play baseball is something special to be a part of. I mean,
And what about playing? I know y'all said St. Thomas More has become a big rival, but Vanderbilt's a rival, and there's been a rivalry for years. But you had to face them 3 times, and that's tough to do. What was y'all beat them the first 2 times, you're facing them on the 3rd time. How did you not let the confidence get so much where you say, we got this game wrapped up? You had to stay focused. How did y'all do that?
yeah, I mean, we just put those 2 games behind us. I mean, it was about a month away. We didn't worry about it. Played our brand of baseball and brought it to the table.
Yeah. Let me ask another freshman right there next to you. I'm trying to remember. Say your name for me one more time.
Evan Arsenal.
All right. What were you absorbing as a freshman on this team? I know you know how special it is to be sitting on that team, and whether you're playing or not at the time, you're grasping it all. What was that like?
It's just amazing, and we bring a lot of confidence, and we know we're going to have more state championships to come.
Talking about moxie. See what I'm talking about? They're not resting on their laurels.
Sounds like Pat Riley.
Yeah. And what's with all the mullets? Can I ask y'all? Y'all bringing it back, right?
Yes, sir. We're bringing the mullets back.
The mullets are coming back. Wow. I never thought I'd ever see a mullet again, but I'm looking at mullet. Well, good deal. Coach, I want to congratulate you again and thank y'all for coming. What a great feat and a great group of guys. Give yourselves a hand. Congratulations. Fantastic. And we'll be following you. But thank y'all for coming, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
All
me.
right. And man, we'll be looking to see what goes on at the meeting.
Well, they got 2 or 3 more years before they win another one, so they better produce, right?
Well,
hold them accountable.
I'm expecting the key to the
all right,
You got it.
sure
You got
nobody wants to sing out there, right? Okay, nobody's raising it. All right, thank y'all. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. Congratulations to Edie White. They are winners of the state championship in baseball. And our congratulations again, Guy. We'll be back. Don't go away.
I have something that I do each week, generally on every Friday, called Afternoon Car Line Shenanigans. It all started about two months ago or so. We had a Dr. Seuss week, and it was being conducted in the school library, and it kind of gave me an idea of, let me get into character. So I got a Dr. Seuss hat and some big old crazy gloves and decided that I was going to do my car line traffic detail in character. And from there, it just kind of snowballed, and each week became a different character. I had a squid hat one day. I was a clown another week. And I usually do it on Fridays, and the reason for that is for the kids to have some kind of joy at the end of their week and celebrate the weekend that they have coming up. And just forget about school, have fun, and be silly about it. I really believe that doing this puts law enforcement in a different light for a lot of these kids, because we live in a time where things are so negative and all we hear are the bad things about crime going on and the behaviors of police officers and different things like that. And I'm not trying to get political at all on this at all, but it puts us in a lighter tone with the children. I like letting them see the lighter side of law enforcement.
Well, this is the first year that we have had an SRO on campus, and so Mr. Walter has been a great addition, just enhancing our security system that we already had in place, spending the day with the students. He has definitely speeded up our car line. He's been a great addition out there, and I know that the students love to see him in that role as they leave the school, either in their cars or on the buses. He really does do a great job expediting the travel and the time getting off of our campus at the end of the day for our parents. He has been having some interesting, silly costumes throughout the end of the school year, and I think that's a great addition for the students to see him in that role as they leave, but see him in a different role here at school during the day. I do believe the students enjoy seeing him in that role. Partnering with the Houma Police Department this year has really been a blessing to our school, so I think they see him in that fun role, that very human role at the end of the day, enjoying life, and then throughout the day protecting us and keeping us all safe.
This week is a special week. Instead of just doing it on a Friday, I have decided to do it starting Tuesday, do it every day, because we have our pre-K classes that got out early this week. Our kindergarten classes got out today, and our 7th graders are getting out. So I wanted all the kids to experience their last day with Officer Walter in character. And I've done different things. Like I said, the squid hat, the clown outfit, Cinco de Mayo, I wore a big old sombrero with a scarf and some maracas to help me direct the traffic. Tuesday was probably my craziest setup ever. I had a big old rubber duck inner tube that I put over my entire body and let it sit on me, and I was directing traffic like that. And the kids got a big old kick out of it. Yesterday was, I don't even know what you want to call it. I had a bathing suit put on over the pants. I had a big old life preserver on, life jacket on, and I had water guns. So I was shooting all the cars with water as they were driving by. And I think I even had some of the parents roll down their windows wanting me to shoot their kids with the water guns, but I decided not to do that, of course.
So when he first started doing it, the kids were really excited and really surprised to see him out there doing it. The kids have a wonderful relationship with him. They enjoy seeing him every day. And now I know for sure that they look forward to what he's going to do each day. Their parents are even getting really excited about it too when they come to pick them up. So it has made car pickup at least a bit more enjoyable. I am pretty sure we're probably the only school in the parish that has an officer that does that for them. I think it is great for the students being excited to see him each day and be here each day. It keeps everyone smiling and happy for sure.
Today is going to be Mad Scientist Day. And as y'all will see, I'll get into character and direct traffic. Now, even the public, people that don't even go to the school here, they drive by. I think some of them drive by on purpose just to see what I'm going to be doing for that day. I have fun with everybody. You know, the people that work downtown, the city workers, they drive by and I wave at them. I don't dismiss it from anybody. I want everybody to have a fun time. I want everybody to see that, I wasn't born with a badge on my shirt, and I'm just like the next guy. And I want to have fun, and I want people to have fun and enjoy things.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is my car line shenanigans.
Welcome back to Bayou Time News. Lafourche Parish Sheriff Craig Weber announced 7 people were shot and injured in a shooting that occurred Sunday night during a party in Maridale community in Thibodaux. 2 others were injured as the crowd ran from the scene. No arrests have been made. And at around 9:30 p.m. on May 21st, deputies responded to a call of a shooting in the 300 block of Highland Drive in Thibodaux with multiple victims. Now, what we're going to do now, press conference was held today, Monday, and we're going to go to our coverage of that press conference involving this story that I just told you about.
At 9:32 last night, our dispatch center received a call of shots fired in the Maridale community, which is in Lafourche Parish, bordering Terrebonne Parish. Apparently there was a large gathering of people for a informal street party, if you will, on Highland Drive, which is one of the streets in Maridale in the subdivision. The first unit arrived on the scene 5 minutes later at 9:37. The crowd was dispersing. There were persons who were injured for having been struck by bullets from firearms, and the officers were able to start administering first aid, assisting in getting victims to the hospital and securing the scene as a crime scene. It's less than 24 hours since this incident occurred. As an update, I can assure you that we have not wasted a minute of time in following up on leads, generating leads, and extending to our partners like ATF and other local law enforcement support for help or collaboration for assistance in solving this crime. There were 7 individuals who were struck by bullets from, we believe, 2 different firearms that may have been used. Of those 7 victims, 5 were female and 2 were male, all 7 between the ages of 17 and 25. There were 2 other females between the ages of 21 and 25 who were injured as a result of probably the pandemonium associated with people trying to seek cover or get out of harm's way. Of those 9 people, all have been released from the hospital. We're very blessed and fortunate to say that there were no fatalities, and it appears that everyone will fully recover or recover from the injuries that they receive. There's 1 person still hospitalized. Thus far, from a crime scene perspective, we have recovered 1 firearm with DNA evidence on that firearm, and we have sent that firearm to ATF for a detailed forensic analysis to include checking the casings, checking for firing markings on the projectile, and any other evidence that might be associated with that particular firearm. We have also recovered 12 casings, 11 spent casings, and 1 live round at the scene from 2 different caliber weapons. The indication is that the weapons and the calibers are consistent with handguns. The event, we are told, and much of what we are told is very speculative at this point, because we're, as I mentioned, within 24 hours of this incident. We're told that this event may have started as some sort of a graduation party from a preschooler. And of course, today, with the advent of social media, once 10 people get together for an event, they become 10 more people. From each of those people become 100 people. and it expands to have the whole street full of people. We have every reason to believe that the majority of the people there were legitimately socializing in a forum, and unfortunately, at least 2 or more individuals with firearms and without any regard to the safety of themselves and to the people around them shot into this crowd, creating the injuries that I described. We don't have a motive. We do not, at this point, have a suspect. However, we do have a lot of information and leads that we're following up to include analyzing digital evidence, identifying and speaking to persons who were the victims or who had been injured in this event. In addition to that, and this type of shooting, where we've seen it in the past, infrequently, but we have seen it in the past, sometimes it's typical of 2 or more people who have some disagreement or what might be called a beef, and they make the decision to settle it among themselves. And it's a callous group of people who are prone to violence, and as you can see from this incident and similar incidents across the country, they have zero regard for the sanctity of human life and for innocent victims that might be harmed by their unwillingness to settle things in an amicable way, and their unwillingness to involve law enforcement. By the time the officers got there and the scene was secured, there were estimates of as many as 400 or 500 people there, and within a short period of time, the crowd was diminished to maybe 10 individuals who lived nearby. It's not unusual for people to be genuinely concerned in a situation like that and to not obviously put themselves in harm's way of these violent, lethal criminals by being seen talking to police officers. However, what we have found through past incidences, and other agencies as well have corroborated that the information will start trickling in. That obviously there are people who know things and who have seen things, and we want to use this press conference as an opportunity to appeal to the public, in particular people who may have been at this event and members of the Marydale community, to let them know that we are unified in our willingness and our commitment to keeping this community safe, to identifying the person or persons responsible, to apprehending them and holding them accountable. Anything that you know or heard, it doesn't have to be firsthand information. Our investigators may just have.
We'll have more on this investigation as it unravels. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, and welcome back. We're going to talk a little Bayou Time Sports, and what a great guest we have today. Bryn Kelso from Vanderbilt Catholic High School. Let me tell you a little bit about this, but before I give you some of her accomplishments, Stan Gravois, I was talking to Stan, and he was emailing back and forth. We were talking about different athletes, and he sent me this by email, so I got to give Stan credit because this young lady is quite a track and field athlete. Bryn Kelso has won 20 state, or been involved in 27 state championship medals overall. 17 gold, 8 silver, 2 bronze. In the individual state championships, she has 2 800-meter championships, 2 1,600-meter championships, 2 cross-country championships, 1 3,200-meter championship, and 3 4x800-meter championships. 10 individual state championships. That's unbelievable. Team state championships. She's been involved in 2 track and field 4A championships and 5 cross-country 4A championships. Wow. That's all I can say. Bryn, welcome aboard. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
First of all, let's talk about your parents a little bit, because obviously somebody inspired you to be
Yes, sir.
great athlete and to be on task. So talk about your parents. Who are they?
So my parents are Matt and Danette Kelso. My dad was a runner. He's from Scotland, so he came here. He ran for Nicholls State, and it was kind of just always set the way for me to start this sport.
So running's in your blood.
A little bit.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, because I know this year, unlike other years, you had to run 4A and 5A ran together because of the rain.
Yes.
How was that?
So that actually happened my 8th grade year, funny enough. So, finished like I started a little bit. Yeah. But that was definitely very chaotic. It was different. Obviously, having raced all these girls before, I wanted to go out and be like, I want to go beat everyone. Like, I want to go and race with the 5A girls. Like, I know that I can. But I had to stay calm, stay relaxed, and be like, no, we have a different mission to accomplish today. And I really just had to focus on those 4A girls instead.
Yeah. Being a former track guy, I guess I could say, during the track meet itself, you mentioned something. It's all about keeping yourself calm. You can't hype yourself up too much, because you'll hype yourself right out of the race. And I've seen sprinters do the same thing. They get so hyped up that they jump, or they just get tense. How do you stay relaxed and focused, knowing that really you should win the race, but you could be your worst enemy? You seem to be able to handle that. How have you handled it?
It definitely took a lot of years of hard work and practice, and you just have to really trust yourself. I try not to overthink any races. I try to just, let everything happen and just work hard and practice, and it all comes together on race day.
When did you, or what age were you when you started liking to run? Most people don't like to run.
I've loved running pretty much my entire life.
Really?
For as long as I can remember, I've done like 5K road races and stuff like that. My dad would take me out there. I've watched him coach my entire life. So just, the whole being an athlete and that whole atmosphere came natural to me. And running was just one of my favorite things. And as soon as I was able to start competing, I hopped straight on that. I even did Girls on the Run, and I would take it so competitively just so that I could have that opportunity.
And when I say people don't like to run. They like to run, but they don't like to run long distances. And there's a point in time when you're running, we used to call it the bear when I was in track. I don't know if they call it now, but when you sense that the lungs are fixing to give out and you're on the threshold of losing everything, all of a sudden another gear kicks in, another, gulp of oxygen comes in. But once you get past that and you train past that, you got it, don't you?
Well, funny story, you never get past that. I always tell my friends it's just as hard for me to go out there and run as it is you, because every single day you're trying to push yourself to a new level. It never gets easier. You just learn how to tolerate it. And that was one of the big things that I had to learn, that bear's always going to jump on your back and you're always going to have to fight through a new challenge, but that's just part of getting better.
Yeah. How has athletics sort of rounded you off as a beautiful young lady, sort of aspiring and successful? You handle yourself very well. How does athletics fit into that?
It fits in tremendously. It has totally carved out the person that I am today. It's taught me patience, persistence, hard work, and the good things don't always come easy. Just as many of these gold medals that I have so many stories of just failed attempts at state championships and so many hardships, but those have really just made the wins just so much better.
You make a good point, because a lot of people see Michael Jordan or LeBron James or any of these great athletes, they always count the number of championships they have. But they don't ever go back to college, or of course, LeBron came right out of high school. They don't ever go to high school and look at the losses that they had that sort of churned them and inspired them. The losses are what really drives the success, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like I said, I have so many national championships, state championships where things did not go my way and I thought it was the end of the world, just feeling so down on yourself. But gosh, whenever it all comes together, it's just the best feeling and it's so worth it.
All right, let's do this. We're going to take a short break. Brent Kelso, a great athlete at Vanderbilt Catholic High School. We'll talk more about the psyche, and we're going to get to the schoolwork. I promise you. We'll talk about that too, because naturally, as a student athlete, you have to make it in the classroom so that you can go on the track and compete. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about her coaches and the inspiration that they give, and the teammates also. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we're back with Bryn Kelso. She has had so many great accomplishments at Vanderbilt Catholic High School in girls track. But I shouldn't even say girls track. She could probably beat a lot of boys in the States. I'll say it. But 27 state championship medals overall. And she has just been really great in this endeavor that she's gotten herself into because she loves to run. We were sort of talking at the break. And, you know, once again, you can put so much pressure on yourself as an athlete. And I remember the big track meets that we used to have when I was at Vanderbilt. And there's a lot of fun. And you get to know a lot of people from other schools. And you're cutting up with them. But deep down inside, you want to tear them apart when you get out there in the race or the field event. What was the coaching like? Because the coaches can... I'll say it, the coaches can either make it fun for you or they can make you so tense and push you so hard that you go in reverse. Obviously, you had some good coaching.
Yes, I did have some good coaching, but in a very different way than most people. Coach Malone, I'll speak for him. He's the first one to tell you he doesn't know much about running, but he has been one of the most amazing coaches I could possibly have. He's taught us so many amazing life lessons and taught us that it's not that serious. It's just a high school sport at the end of the day. And although we've had great success and there comes a little bit pressure at times, he's always taught us how to handle it properly, and he's always taken good care of us. So I really appreciate it.
And I remember because I went to the state track meet last year, and as I'm looking at all that, it just brings me, it's so different to be at a track meet. And I want to tell the audience this, that if you haven't been to a track meet, you need to try to make one because it's so much going on. It's like being an air traffic controller, and you got to look here, and then the pole vault's going on, then the high jump, then, you get third and final call here, and you're all over the place. But your teammates, too, that there's always the clown. There's always the serious one. There's always the one that if they lose something, you got to go pat them on the back, get them back up. There's some of them that if they lose a race, they're not going to beat themselves to death. So you have all the gambits. Who was the clown on y'all team? Who kept everybody loose? Was it you?
Oh, no, it was not me. It was Logan Hamilton. So she is a graduating senior with me this year, and props to her because she is the best runner who hated running. And she never wanted to be there. She was like, I'm going to quit. And we were like, no, you're not. Like, she knew she wasn't. And she's an amazing runner. And every time the gun would go off, she did her job. And she always worked hard at practice. And even though she would goof off, she was such an amazing role model for all those younger girls to keep working hard.
I know both her parents.
Yes.
Well, when you get that third and final call, and as accomplished as you are, the butterflies. And if an athlete tells me they don't have butterflies, I think they're lying to me because butterflies are natural, but it's how you cope with the butterflies. Was there some kind of systematic way you dealt with it, or is it just something that you've been able to just sort of learn over the years?
You know, I don't think they ever go away. Some races are always more nerve-wracking than others, but like I said, I try not to overthink it until the last possible second and then just want that gun to go off so bad. I'm just sitting there waiting for it, and as soon as it does, all of it goes away, and it's just time to focus.
Who was your nemesis? There's always somebody out there when you know you're going to be in this certain track meet, that this certain person's going to be there. Who was it for you?
Off my team or another
your
school?
team. Well, no, anybody.
I would say this year, I guess it was Angèle Dupuis from Tarlings Catholic.
Yeah.
She beat me right on the line at Indoor State this year for the 800, and I was like, where did she come from? Like, I was so confused, but she's one of those girls that's just so sweet, and you're just like, where did you come from? Like, it always happens, and she had a great track season, and I would say that this year it was probably her, but I think it changes a lot every year.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm 63 years old, and the same people I used to go head-to-head with in the high jump and the triple jump, I know all their names because it sticks with you. And sometimes you'll run into them and you cut up and joke, and it's like reliving the stress you won way back when. Let me ask you, Ella Chestnut. I mean, I saw her last year too, and she had some great work ethic and also did well for herself. How much does that push somebody like yourself as an underclassman, but seeing what's going on to say, all right, I know what I got to do?
Ella has inspired not just me, but every girl on our team. In fact, to the point where her little sister was the tiebreaker of our winning the state championship this year in cross country. Ella's legacy at Vanderbilt is absolutely amazing. Her work ethic and just her commitment to this sport inspired me so much. And, you know, if you always thought you were working hard, she was going to prove to you that she was working harder. And it inspired all of us to just keep pushing. And she was just a great role model for me and taught me a lot.
Did she ever take a day off? Because every time I would see her running around town or wherever, it seemed like everywhere I was driving, Ella was running. What was that? Was just everybody sort of understood that?
I think so. Ella just, she was always go, go, go. And I think having a goofy team like we were always helped her to just, we would be like, Ella, come on. Like, just you can take a day off, whatever. But no, Ella always worked hard and always had her goals and fought to reach those.
And you mentioned legacy. When we come back, we'll talk about a legacy here. Okay, so it's a pretty good legacy. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with Brent after the break. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, welcome back. We're talking with Bryn Kelso, and I told you in the first two segments how accomplished she is in track and field at Vanderbilt Catholic High School. And just trying to think of anyone in the area that has been this accomplished. And I mean, I can think of some track people. Dalton LeBlanc was one of them, but I can go down the list, and I really don't know if anybody that's had this many track and field medals. I could be wrong. If there is someone, call me. I'll get you on the show because you deserve to be on. But it's not just track and field. It's being in the classroom, too. And I want to make sure that I portray that to the young people watching because they all see the glamour of being on the track. But you got to hit the books. How'd you do in school?
Grades have always been super important to me. I graduated with honors from Vanderbilt this week. I have about a 3.6 GPA, but it wasn't just academics. It was all the SGA, campus ministry. I was a part of all of that around school. And just being a part of all of that really helped just have that overall balance of everything in my life. And yeah, school's always been very important to me. I'm always competitive about everything, including grades.
So all around, you just felt compelled to, and I'm sure your parents had a lot to do with that, but outside of your parents, was there anyone that sort of inspired you? Who was your mentor?
I would say there was a few teachers for sure at my school that always were making sure that I was staying on top of everything and were keeping track of all my track stuff too. So they would just, always make sure that if I needed help, I could. Yeah, it was just.
I'm going to ask you a trick question because you have this great personality. You're so poised for being this age, sitting on a desk. I've seen many people come on this news desk. You're so poised. Who you take more after, your mom or your dad?
I think
now be careful how you answer
I know.
that.
I would definitely say a little bit of both. Both my parents are awesome, and they've raised me to always try to be his manners.
Well, that's a good answer. So that way you get home, they're both proud of you. And why'd you say your dad? Why'd you say your mom?
That was a dangerous question right there.
Yeah, I know. I was setting you up, but you did good. You shocked me on that one. All right. So let's talk about college. College coming up. Did you have a lot of offers?
I definitely was talking to a few different places, but recruitment for track is a little bit different than other sports, as in clocks don't lie. The stopwatch doesn't lie. So they look at your times and they say yes, no, and it moves on, and then you take your official visits. I really didn't take very many of them, but, ultimately Southern Miss just felt right, and it was a place for me.
And it's close enough.
Yes, it's not too far.
Yeah. What was the furthest one you got? Do you remember how far away it was?
Creighton University in Nebraska.
Wow.
That was the farthest.
So you wanted mom and dad to be able to come make a couple of trips and watch, right?
Yes.
All right, good. There you go. So how are you preparing for the change? Because I always tell people, especially when I speak to young athletes, and everyone in high school who's had a good high school career thinks they're pretty good. Then you get to college, and you go, wow, they're all pretty good. And then for those who graduate to go play pro baseball or basketball, or a lot of people now making their career in track and field too. But how are you preparing for the mental aspect of when you get on the track? Everybody's good.
Absolutely. It's racing with, state championships or state champions from every state. Everybody's all together. No one cares how good you were in high school anymore. I've seen so many mediocre high school runners go on to college and become one of the best, and then I've seen vice versa. So it's just staying humble and staying focused, and there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot that I'm going to learn, and I'm looking forward to it, and it's just going to be a new adventure. So.
Yeah, you sort of led me into this because I listen when people are talking, but you talked about campus ministries, so obviously God is a big part of your life too.
Yes, he's given me everything that I could possibly imagine. All my strength comes through him, and he's calmed me down a lot before races, just praying and just hoping for the best.
What's it meant? I mean, when you break down all these medals and all these championships, and you put in all the work, and you see it coming back to you, but it's going to culminate soon, and you're going to move on. And like everybody in life, you're going to move on, and eventually you're going to start your career. What are you looking to do?
I'm still on the fence about everything. As of now, my plan is to major in legal studies on a pre-law track. So I'm not sure yet. It could change, but as of right now, that's what I'm leaning towards.
So law interests you?
It does. I've always been interested in histories and AP Gov and all those classes that I've taken in high school, and I'm just gravitated more towards English sides and math and all that.
Were you like on the SGA student government or whatever? Were you president or were you vice president?
I've always been on the executive board member. I think this year I was like FAC representative, but I've, had my fair share of class officer positions and different SGA positions as well.
So you've always been a leader?
Yes, sir.
Well, good. Good for you. And once again, I think you're very poised, so being in a courtroom wouldn't scare you at all, would it?
No.
All right. And when did you sense you were that confident? What age?
I don't know if it ever I think it's just always been a part of me I've always been more out there, and I've always spoken up and made a lot of friends, and I think I'm just naturally confident.
I thank you, and I think you're a very nice young lady.
Thank you.
And I'm just very proud that my old high school has such an accomplished track and field. Remember, 27 state championship medals overall, and this is just 10 individual state championships once again. Team state championships, 2 track and field 4A championships, and 5 cross-country 4A championships. Once again, Bryn Kelso, congratulations, and thank you for taking a little time to come to HTV, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, there you have it. We'll keep you posted on her college career as it goes on, because I don't think it's over. I think she's going to push herself to more medals and more championships, but we will certainly keep abreast of that. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more right here on Bayou Time Sports. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
And welcome back to HTV, as we're going to talk a little baseball and some great news out of Thibodaux. Nicholls State University Conference champs. We're joined now by Coach Silva. And Coach, I know you've been beaming for the whole weekend, but we'll talk more about the program, because you've had the right avenues that you've sort of put the team on this year. And I've been talking to some old players; they're excited. But first of all, just congratulations. I know the year's not over; a lot left to do, but so far things going pretty well for the Colonels.
Yeah, it's been a great year. It's definitely a historic year, and it's always incredible when you go on one of these runs, and just really happy for our players and all the people that support us. And it's been exciting, and now it's time for us to turn the page, and start focusing on the tournament and try to continue this journey together, because I don't think any of us are ready for it to end yet.
When you took the job, naturally, had some good baseball minds before you, and I'm sure a lot of people told you, there's bigger resources at other schools, there's this, there's that. I'm sure you heard all of that. But you come in and the winning starts. And here this year, you got a conference championship where I know you didn't doubt it, but I'm sure there were a lot of people out there that doubted that it could happen. But I think you have a lot of heads turning around right now. That didn't happen by accident, did it?
No, it didn't. Look, I think probably a lot of people doubted, and probably one of the reasons I really wanted this job and this opportunity. But the young men in that locker room did, and the people that support us every day and see what we're doing every day, they didn't. And you stand on the podium when you get a job, and I always say a press conference is kind of like a pep rally, right? You got to get people excited about you and about your program and your vision, but ultimately that also creates, doubters, and you have to go out and execute that plan, and that's the job. And we all know what we sign up for, and I believe we could win championships here, or I wouldn't have taken the job. And I didn't shy away from that from the day that I got here, and I talked to our players about that. So, and to see it come to fruition, yeah, it's special. Those moments are special. You have to enjoy them.
How do you sell young kids today? It's different than it was 20, 30 years ago. You got to morph with the different aspects of the student athlete today. But you had to go in there and, first of all, get them believing that they could do this. Was that a hard sell with you and the athletes, or did they take it up pretty easily?
No, I don't think it was a hard sell. I did a lot of listening to the kids and the players. I wanted to hear what their vision was, what they wanted their experience to be like. And I feel like that was ammunition for me to go out and execute my plan. They wanted to play in the postseason. And I think they thought the thought of winning the championship was, it sounded awesome, but a lot of these guys had never played in a postseason game before, never been to a conference tournament. And so, just getting back to the postseason last year and then getting them to have a taste of it. And then this year, I said the standard's the standard. The expectation here is going to be winning championships and to compete for them year in and year out. And they rose to that occasion. And look, we were at the top of this thing really from start to finish. And I'm really proud of that. That's really hard to do.
I'm watching y'all celebrate right now.
Yeah, it doesn't get old. That doesn't get old.
It never does. And let me ask you, though, this was a tight race. I mean, we're sitting over here at HTV trying to decide, okay, the games, the scenarios, the this, the that. It's mind-boggling. It's what a conference really wants, the people at the conference, not necessarily what the coaches want. But when y'all were hearing that everything was going your way in that second game, I'm sure the rumblings around the dugout started.
Yeah, not really. I mean, a little bit, but I made it clear I didn't really want to know. I wanted to focus on trying to win the game. I thought that was really important for our guys to not get distracted. I told them after the 8th inning, in the top of the 9th, I told them, look, they lost. We're 3 outs away. We need to get some insurance runs right here and go finish this thing off. It's right in front of you. And I went back and forth in my mind if I was going to tell them. But, look, I want to know if I was a player. And I don't think they would have had that moment if they didn't know. And I'm not naive with technology today. I'm sure a lot of those kids are checking their phones and try to find out, but you're really just trying to keep that away, that distraction, and just focus on the task at hand. And I told them before the game, everything will take care of itself if we take care of business that's in front of us and stop worrying about what other people are doing. And so, yeah, it was awesome. And I'm glad they got that moment. They earned it.
And we're looking at the championship picture there. And it's happened so quick in your career at Nichols. And I guess the question as we end the first break, we'll come back and talk about more aspects of the game. But now you've put a lot of pressure on yourself because it happened so quick in your career. But, of course, that's what you wanted when you signed on to be the head coach. But it happened so quickly. So I know a lot of the old alumni that I've been talking to, and they're so excited for you. I mean, did you really think it was going to happen that fast?
Yeah, I did. I mean, you don't know. Look, people do this their whole career. They're really good coaches and have really good teams, and they don't ever win one. You have injuries and whatnot, and it's such a tough industry now. I think it's a lot harder to win now than it was 20 years ago. There's so much parity and so many really good teams and programs that are investing, and So it's harder now, but yeah, I mean, that was the expectation. I felt like we could come in here and I believe we could do it. And I always say you have to convince yourself first if you're going to convince somebody else. And yeah, I know they say pressure now because we've won, and I don't know, pressure's a privilege. Nobody's going to put more pressure on themselves than I do. And so there's no expectation that somebody's going to have for our program or for myself that I'm not going to have. And I think that goes for the young men we have in the locker room. I think that sells to people. I think real, raw, authentic conversations when you're recruiting people and obviously delivering and winning that championship, it does. It holds some weight and helps out in every area of the program. It keeps people excited, and you need those moments.
Well, I love that statement. Pressure is a privilege. What we're going to do, we'll take a short break with Coach Silva. We're going to come right back and talk about some of his players, how he got them to Nicholls State University, give them a little kudos. We'll be right back right after a short break with the victorious coach of Nicholls State University, the first in conference championship. We'll be right back.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, welcome back to Bayou Time Sports. I'm Martin Falls. Very pleased to have in the studio the victorious Berwick High School baseball team. They are state champions once again. Coaches were just telling me it's been a few years, not many, since they won their last one, but they brought it home this year. And certainly we're going to meet the players in a little bit, but we're going to talk with the coaches. Coach Seth Henry, who's right next to me, and his father, Lud Henry, who I got to tell you, back in the day was a great baseball player, and he went on to play at McNeese. Seth played at Tulane, but Lud Henry, he was something to be reckoned with when we played Berwick. And when we played Berwick, we always knew he was going to be a key part of that Berwick team. So first of all, thank you all and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
All right. So, Seth, we'll start with you because you're the head coach.
That's right.
Got to start with the head coach. Dad's had his time, right? Okay. So tell me about this team because, y'all defeat Doyle 4-2. And at one point, we'll start rolling in a few highlights of the game. But tell me about the season.
So the season, it wasn't always pretty for us. Early on, we dealt with a bunch of injuries, and we played a really tough schedule, so that made it even harder. We had a lot of senior guys. We had 8 seniors in the starting lineup, come championship game. And really, going into the playoffs, it was just a matter of we wanted to make sure our guys were healthy. As long as those guys were healthy, I thought we had a good shot.
There's always a point in the season. I mean, you can look at any team, whether it's high school, college, pro. You can watch the basketball games going on right now in the NBA. There's always a turning point where you feel like that team has crossed the hurdle or they've got over the road bump. When did you sense that your team was starting to get that confidence or that moxie that it takes to win a state championship?
Really, it was kind of getting into the playoffs. Our last game against Assumption, I thought we played a really good game. And really, we had about, 3 of the last 4 regular season games. I felt like we were starting to play well, really kind of starting to get together. And then once we got in the playoffs, with those guys that were there last year in the championship game, I felt like that was an advantage for us. They kind of were able to turn that light switch on a little bit brighter and, get ready to go.
And I got to say that success breeds success. So when you're growing up, and you have a dad sitting right next to you that was pretty doggone good. What does that mean? I mean, did that sort of transition easily to you? Or was it something, did it put more pressure on you to make sure that you excelled? Or how was that?
No, I don't think it added any pressure. It made it easy for sure. With being around him all the time, even just throwing baseballs in the front yard, telling me how to catch it, how to throw it, how to hit, how to do all this. Right. From a very young age, but by the time I got older, I kind of started to have that coach's mind and think about those little situations on my own. So it definitely helped out.
Yeah, and let me go to Lud because naturally, it's been a few years since we faced each other, and he was on that Berwick team. But as you're looking at it now, and I always tell people, life sort of settles down when you get to be our age. You appreciate things for what they are. How does it feel to have a son that brings back a state championship?
No, it was special. It was special. You know, watching him grow as a coach. It was more fun. You know, I always said this. It was more fun to be a player than it is a coach. You know, because I didn't get too nervous as a player, but as a coach, because you don't have control of things, it kind of puts you on edge. You know, because I know what I would do as a player in those situations, but not. You know, and hopefully by the time, and I think these guys they played for Seth for the last. Since they were 8 years old, so they kind of took his personality and his toughness and ran with it, you know. And you know, those 3 years. I mean, when we won it in '78 as a player, that was special. And '18, that was really the first year after my retirement that I got back into it, and we won it. That was special, and this was even more special because. Couple of those guys out there, they're all family, but a couple of those guys out there are actually part of our family, so that makes it even more special.
Yeah, and Berwick just has a tradition as we look at some of the highlights. Y'all have always had some great athletes coming through Berwick. I mean, I can remember just Black Joe Guillot way back, the Roby shows, yourself. I mean, just so many athletes that came through. Everyone who's ever played Berwick in any kind of sport knows you got to bring your A game. And is that just do you sense that's sort of a tradition at the school, or is it just they got a lot of good athletes around Berwick? I'm trying to figure it out.
I think with the baseball side of it, it's it's kind of a culture thing. You know, they start at a young age. They really take pride in it, and you know the older guys always kind of groom the younger guys, and you know that always helps out to sustain a program. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and as we look at these highlights, what's it like to be in a state championship baseball game?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, our fans were amazing.
Look, there they are right there.
Jumping up and down right there. You know, we couldn't have asked for a better support system from them. You know, from first pitch to last pitch, they were in it all game, and it's just that atmosphere. You know, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere. We had several camera crews there because we had not only you all, we had Edie White playing Vanderbilt, so that's obviously a big rivalry. But what we'll do, we're going to start winding down this segment. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to go down to ground level because we've got some players who are dying to get on the microphone and tell us a little bit about themselves. Look at him. You see, we got a leader out there already. And a couple of them are going to play a little baseball and some football for Coach Tim Rebo. And we'll find out the baseball players where they're going to play at. But I want to get their sense of what the game was like and how they felt. It is pressure being a state championship, but they seem to handle it pretty well. We'll be right back.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, welcome back. We are with the victorious Berwick Panthers baseball team, and they won state championship this year 4-2 over Doyle. And during the break, see 6 degrees of separation. Tim Hemel played for Morgan City, and then Nichols from the Morgan City area. Coach was telling me that he was your best man in your wedding.
Absolutely, still a great friend. Yep.
Yeah, great guy. We used to get in trouble with Nichols. All right, so let's talk about the players on your team. Let's give the overall roster first. Then I'm gonna go down and get some comments from the players themselves.
All right, so I'm gonna start with the 2 assistants that aren't here today. They weren't able to make it. Tony Lynn and Zachary Stewart. Our trainer was Taylor Estrada. So here we had Hayden Robinson. He's a senior. Lane Rogers, junior. Rhett Ratcliffe, junior. Evan Crappell, sophomore. Jaden Milton, senior. Carter Whipple, sophomore. Dawson Richard, senior. Cole Morris, sophomore. Zach Kitchen, junior. Ian Thurgeson, sophomore. Henry Thurgeson, sophomore. Nicholas Wiggins, sophomore. Brody Newton, sophomore. Luke Thomas, senior. Aaron Askew, senior. Kyle Stansberry, sophomore. Zach Gonzalez, senior. Jason Matthews, sophomore. Eli Lodrig, freshman. Gavin Darby, freshman. Grant White, sophomore, Evan White, senior, Crubella, senior, Luck Lalou, junior, and Mason Johnson, senior.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's go down to the rank and file on the floor, and we're going to get a little comment from each of them and just open up the mic. Just tell us your name and a little bit about yourself and what this year meant for you.
I'm Crubella. I'm going to play college at Louisiana Christian to play football and baseball, and this year meant a lot to me. I mean, it was a great experience, and it's something that will live with me forever.
Yeah, all right, next.
I'm Jaden Milton. I'm going to Nichols and play football, and it was good to win state this year.
Yeah.
Because last year we came up short, so it was good to win.
Dawson Richard. I'm a senior. I catch and I pitch. I'm going to Southwest Mississippi Community College to play baseball, and I mean, this year just finished it off with this group that I've been playing with since I was little. It was special, and I can't ask for more.
No, you good. It's already on. So you
I'm Hayden Robinson. I'm a senior pitcher and shortstop. I'm going to play baseball at Nichols. And it meant a lot this year because whenever we were little watching the 2018 team win it, and then we came up short last year, it really felt good to win this year.
And so you talked about that 18 team. When that seed is set and you get that feeling, even though you might not be in the game or you might be younger, doesn't it set a trend, like Coach was saying, and it makes you watch and say, well, we can do that too.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool watching them, play on that field in front of all those people. And, we've always dreamed of doing it whenever we were little, and finally came to reality last year. Came up short. This year we finally finished it off.
All right, yeah. Let's pass the mic back here. Y'all can stand up if you want. That way you could, they can see you a little better. All right, there you go.
I'm Evan White. I'm a senior. I'm going to LSU next year. And this season was really special because I've been playing with all these guys since we were like 5 years old. So to have a state championship win with them, it's pretty special.
Thank you.
I'm Zach Gonzalez. I'm a senior. I played outfield in state championship game. I was a catcher. And, this year it was just great to get a win with the people, like friends, and especially family being there and stuff like that, especially because it's our last year. So.
Good deal.
All right, I'm Aaron Askew, and I was a second baseman, and I'm going to Nichols next year, but not for baseball. Just going to Nichols. And it was special to win this year because I saw my older brothers do it a while back, and it didn't feel good to fall up short last year, so it was good to be able to bring it home this year.
All right. Let's bring the mic back up here. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Who was the player that kept everybody loose? Because we all know it gets tense at times. Who's the one that eased everybody up?
Jaden.
Jaden did?
Yep.
What would he do?
Yes.
That's not for TV?
Not for TV.
But he knew when to come in and get everybody loose.
Yes, sir.
And it also took the coaches to allow it because baseball's about having fun, right?
They didn't really know about it, but yeah.
Well, they know now, and all your parents are going to know about it now.
Yes, they will.
All right, so let me ask the coach here. But it does take somebody to keep it loose. And look, as coaches, there's a little cutting up going on the team, but in Lud, I think you would agree, sometimes you just got to turn a blind eye.
Yeah, no, like I said, with all these seniors, we kind of knew what they had. We knew the leadership that they had, so a lot of us was just kind of letting them do their thing, to an extent, until they got on our nerves too bad and crossed that line. But that didn't happen very often.
Would you consider yourself a strict coach?
I mean, I don't know how you define a
Probably
strict
on
coach.
fundamentals and situation.
Yeah, those kind of things. I'm not a big screamer, unless the time calls on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty calm coach, I would think, for the most part. But if
calmer than me.
if the time calls for it, and we need a come to Jesus speech like after the Calachi New Iberia game, then I can give those too.
All right, good deal. I'm going to come back after the break. Well, ask him about that speech he gave. I'm going to go to the players on this one. So we'll be back. Once again, Berwick victorious in the state championship. And just to let you know, we tried to get them on last week, scheduling conflict, but we are having them on. So it'll be on Facebook, YouTube. It'll be on the whole thing. And they can share it and send it to their girlfriends or their moms, their dads, whomever. So we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we're back with the Berwick baseball team, victorious in the state championship game against Doyle. They won it 4-2, and certainly well deserving of some TV time. And just to let the players know, as I was telling you in the first segment, we played Berwick. They had some great teams. There was a lot of rivalry. Same districts back then. Of course, it switched up a lot. But later on, these athletes will realize that some of their rivals become very good friends, and they'll have some good times with them. But let's talk about Coach Seth alluded to the speech he gave, the very passionate speech. Less a few words. What did he say?
Also can't say that on TV, but it was definitely well deserved. We came out really lazy and we played a very bad game.
So he had the respect of the team.
Yes, sir.
And why did he have the respect? Was it just over the years, the way he coached? And he didn't holler all the time. So when he raised his voice or something on that speech, you knew he meant business?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's definitely a coach that we're all comfortable around. We like being with, and always a good time.
Yeah, so you play quarterback, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. You had a pretty good arm?
I guess so.
Yeah, there you go.
He does.
And you going to play running back, Jaden, at Nichols?
Yeah.
All right. You going to start for Coach Rebo?
I don't know.
That's the plan, huh?
Yep.
All right, we had an all-state defensive back in the back over there. Let's. How many picks did you have this year?
2. That's it.
But you were a big hitter?
Not really, but
Yeah, well, they're all saying you were.
I had like 100 tackles. That's about it.
100 tackles?
Yeah.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Pretty good. That's fantastic. No doubt about it. So how does it, we always talk to the coaches about the players making it easy on them. When you have good athletes, but you have good people, doesn't it make your job a lot easier?
It makes it really easy. With all these kids, they're all excellent students, excellent people in general. All of their work ethics are through the roof. So it makes our job really easy as a coach.
So let's give, is it Amber Monso? Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
She's the principal,
She was the acting principal.
Okay.
She was only there for a couple of months, but she was very supportive.
Yes.
Mr. Broussard was there before, and he took another job in March or so. And so she stepped in at the right time because we had a lot of fun here the last 2 months.
Yeah, she was the first one in the dugout congratulating us every game, so she was into it.
Then the AD is Mike Walker?
Yes,
Okay.
and he's another one that was in the dugout with us every single game, loves baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lud, I get a chance to ask you this because you've been full circle as a player, as a coach, as an assistant coach. Do you ever get tired of winning?
No. When I was a head coach, I never did win it as a head coach. We lost in the finals once or twice. I think we've won 3 state championships, and I've been lucky enough to have been a part of all 3 as a player, and then 2 as an assistant. So I think maybe the lucky thing is me being an assistant, maybe not the head coach. Principal, we made it one year, and I was coaching, and Berwick's a special place. The tradition that when I started coaching and all that, that was something that when I knew coming back from college that Berwick was going to be my home again for the rest of my life. I just always had a real interest in baseball, and it's fun. It keeps me young, tries to keep me young, and it gets exciting and don't ever get old. Right. Seth was talking about being there last year. It don't ever get old going back to the state championship. That's something that you always strive for.
And I've seen the teams, even in girls sports, like Coach Albert with softball. reel off 6 state titles. They won 112 games in a row. And trust me, I know these young men understand that the underclassmen that are watching this celebration and seeing all this don't think it doesn't sink in their head, and they want a little piece of that too, because it, like I said, once they experience that, I know y'all gonna find this hard to believe, but some young kids were probably out in the backyard saying y'all names and playing like they were playing ball, because that's how it is. So y'all set a great example. What a great shot right there. And Coach, what was going through your mind as that was happening?
Whew, I think I was finally breathing at that point. You know, it was just all the emotions coming in at one point, and you know, like I told them, you worked so hard for so long to get to that one point, and it was all worth it. And it was just awesome ride.
Yeah, and let me ask the players real quick. I don't know who has the microphone still. What was going through your mind on the pile-up? Is it still the same? Nobody wants to be on the bottom of the pile-up?
Unfortunately, when I called the last pitch, I was trying to flip Dawson on the bottom, but it didn't go as planned, and I got on the bottom, and after 10 seconds, I was telling Dawson, I was like, you got to get up. I can't breathe. Can't breathe. But it was fun.
Well, congratulations. We're so glad y'all made the trip to Houma here, and I know they had some shirts for you. We'll see if we got the right sizes, but like we did with Edie White, if we don't, we're going to send them all to Berwick with y'all right size. That way y'all can have a little HTV gift. And congratulations on a great year. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank y'all for making the trip to Houma.
Kudos to our district. Not too many districts can say they have 2 state champions.
There you go. You're right. All right, we'll be back with more right here on Bayou Time Sports. Don't go away. All right, welcome back. A big meeting this morning, and the parish president, and Tony, you were there too. A lot of other people were there. And what happened? Some big news coming?
Yeah, you know, the 43 parishes, 12 levy boards, and we've all got together with Attorney General Jeff Landry, and also Liz Merrill. You know, the
Solicitor General.
Solicitor General, and we filed suit against FEMA on it 2.0, which is going to completely kill the flood insurance in the state of Louisiana as we know it, and other states. There's 12 other states that joined the lawsuit, and we had a big announcement this morning.
And Tony, you were there. What did you get out of the meeting?
Well, you know, I think it's a great move. You know, it's ridiculous when we tax the people of Terrebonne Parish twice, and we tell them we're going to build them a levee system, and we do. And we hadn't flooded in over 15 years now at this point. And so the thanks they're going to get for taxing themselves and helping us build this levee with their tax money is an increase in their flood insurance. So we were saving the bayous from people having to move up the bayou by putting protection in place, and now here comes your flood insurance costs that are going to push them out of those areas anyway. And it's unjust.
So, Mr. Dove, how did that come about? Where did we get there? How did we get there?
Well, I believe a bunch of environmental bureaucrats with FEMA got together, and we can't even get a copy of the models they used. But if you live near a waterway, you can basically throw away your levees, throw away your pump station. I'm talking about flood insurance-wise.
They act like it's not there.
Yeah, they act like it's not there. Right. Well, find me a place in Louisiana or in the United States that you're not near a waterway. So this isn't only affecting the waterways in Louisiana. I mean, anyone living near the water in Louisiana, it's the whole United States. Now, what we hope in the federal courts do, because it's filed in the federal court system, is to put a stay on it where we can go to court, and we believe we'll get that stay.
Will it drop immediately?
Yes, if we it won't drop, but it'll stay with the old system where you won't go up on it.
Any timeline, any feel for a timeline on that?
Well, we hope to do it pretty quick. We're doing an emergency filing, and Jeff Landry and Liz Merrill, the Solicitor General, did a wonderful job moving it out, worked with our attorneys. Archie Chasson and Corey Keefe and Dwayne Bourgeois and
Terrebonne
Tony.
and Lafourche delegation were both there today. Who else was there?
Okay, you had St. Charles Parish.
Right.
Matt Jewell was there. You had St. Bernard. You had Orleans, representative from Orleans. And you had GNO. GNO was a big part of it too. So we've got everyone on board. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. Remember, Martin, it was not congressionally mandated. It was administratively added, meaning they could drop it tomorrow. Congress didn't mandate what they're doing right now. They just came up and did it because they claim that the system is $20 billion in the red. For the federal government, $20 billion is nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean, we don't understand where they come from.
So no mandate, so just sign of a piece of paper, it's over.
It's some very environmentalists and some bureaucrats are just, I tell you, ruining the flood insurance as we see it today.
How tough was the Attorney General in his speech today? How did that come across?
Very good. I thought he did a great job, very thorough. Him and Liz, and made our point today and why this is unjust, and it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and how many other states are involved? Parishes?
13 states, I think. I'll go with
Yeah, you got 12 or 13 states, 43 parishes, plus I believe 12 levy boards. And like GNO and other organizations are all on board, and and everyone's in the same direction.
That's pretty strong. That's a good number.
Republican, Democrats, it doesn't matter. I mean, water has no political party, and flood insurance.
It doesn't discriminate.
Flood insurance got no political party.
The late Senator Chavez said that way back when. Let's talk about Chip Klein. Your final parting shots. Done a lot, hadn't he?
He's been great.
Yeah.
Chip's been so great to work with. And again, so Chip has done a fantastic job. He's been readily available. We go to him with an issue. I even talked to him this morning when we were leaving some other ideas about pushing this last reach forward a little faster. And in addition to that, I also have to say that, again, as Colonel Jones and Mark Wingate have been working with us very well too, between the state and local and the Corps of Engineers. So it's a good group right now. And of course, Chip's going to be retiring.
Yeah.
And
but that's why I'm asking.
Well, I hate to see him. Okay, I hate to see him go. But Brent Haas is going to do a great job. Brent's been there every step of the way as well.
Okay, and Mr. Duff?
Well, when I sat on the CPRA for 8 years, and Garrett Graves was on it, and Jerome Zarang, then Chip Klein, and of course Chip's been there from the get-go, and because we've seen Louisiana transform into the protection that we have today, and that's why we're angry about this flood insurance issue. We should be going down on our rates and not up. But no, Chip has done a wonderful job. He'll land in the private sector someplace, and we look forward to working with Brent Haas, and it's all coming together.
All right, I wanted to make sure we got that in before the end of the show. We'll take a short break here on Bayou Time. When we come back, we have a lot more news. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hey everybody, welcome back into Bayou Time Sports. Harry McCullough here, and we got the big man around town for sure. And it's not the Mannings. It's Mike Silva, head baseball coach of the Nichols Colonels, after a heck of a run this entire season to win the overall crown of Southland Conference, and then going in and winning the tournament in Lake Charles to a great showing in the NCAA. So first of all, Coach, congratulations. How was the run after this last month of this great ride? How's it feel now?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, we're tired. I think it kind of hits you. You know, it's like you're running on adrenaline and excitement and caffeine and kind of hit the wall. But you also have an opportunity. You don't really get a chance to reflect when you're going through it because you're always on to the next one, the next moment, and you want to keep getting better and keep playing. And I have a chance to reflect. You take a minute. I took a minute last night and kind of looked at everything and started watching some of the videos and the clips and just great memories. It's awesome, a lot of pride, and just really proud of our program and our community. It's been a really special run for us.
Yeah, and we were talking. It's good to be a colonel right now, a colonel baseball player right now, and you really want to springboard into recruiting, into community, getting everybody to kind of follow the team. I was telling you, maybe a little bit like the LSU basketball team. It really kind of everybody rallied to a sport that not everybody's always following, and from what you guys did, I'm sure you're feeling that in the community now, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, look, this community is special, and I said it from the day I accepted the position here as the head baseball coach. Is that one of the things that attracted me to the job, or probably the main thing, was the community and having the privilege to live here and the people. And South Louisiana is unique, and Thibodaux is definitely unique and special, and so it's been awesome. And people continue to support us. Yes, recruiting, we're in the middle of it right now. You don't really have a chance to relish in the success. You got to get right back to the drawing board, and we need to land a couple more guys, and we're doing really well in recruiting. And then obviously moving forward right into next season. I'm ready for August to get here and get back to fall ball and get back on the field and get these guys back to campus.
Yeah, absolutely. And then now you really want to cash in as people got a chance to see your program on national TV and that kind of stuff. Look, you got a good recruiting base in this area. You got tops that you can offer guys when you only get 11.7 scholarships. So you can get some of those names in and really, so I would guess you feel we got to capitalize on what we've been doing.
Yeah, 100%, but I think even more than that, like obviously our backyard's the most important, right? You got to do a good job here. We've done a good job with that, but to get to the next level in a regional, we have to be able to draw some guys in, from the outside, and not just what South Louisiana has to offer, but what our program has to offer too. And the success that we've had. And so we have to add a couple of pieces here and there. And, we're really focused on that right now, and we feel really excited about it. We've got a couple guys over the last few days that I think are going to make an immediate impact and help us get over the hump.
Yeah, we're looking at video of your game against Alabama, and those of us who all stayed up and watched it late at night, that was a tough one. You guys led from wire to almost wire, and they went in a walk-off. That was a tough blow for you guys, huh?
Yeah, it was really tough, but perspective's a powerful thing, right? Positive and negative. Obviously, it was a really good college baseball game. It was probably one of the better games in the tournament so far. Just back and forth, two really good teams playing. But if 18 months ago I'd have told people, I think I did, but if I told people we're going to play in a regional against a 1 seed and have a realistic opportunity to win, I think everybody would have probably thought I was a little crazy. And that's exactly what we did. So proud of our guys. It's something to build off of. And we do have to capture it and keep this energy and momentum moving so we can win that game next year.
Right. Yeah. You had some great pitching and big hits. And like I say, it was awesome. Look, to lose a game played late into the night. I don't know what time that game wrapped up. And then you had to come back and play Boston College the next day. That's a tough ask for kids emotionally and physically to do that.
Yeah, I thought Boston College was a host caliber team. They were in the conversation, the host, and then so we saw them in the regional. We knew it was going to be tough. And look, our kids haven't been in that moment before. And you can play in a regular season, you can play for championships. Once you get in the NCAAs and you're playing in front of those type of crowds and those venues, it's emotional, and you have a chance to win. It was draining. I thought we gave great effort. We just weren't very sharp, and sometimes you just don't play well. And I didn't think we did, but that's hats off to them and their offense. And I thought they had a really good game plan and they executed. And that was it. That's it. It ends just like that, which is kind of disappointing just because I'm going to miss the players and that group we had. It was a very special group.
Oh, without a doubt. That's a great group. But you do, the ones that will learn from it and be able to bring that with them next year mentally as they play the next game. Look, I played, when I played, if you get used to, your body gets playing once a day or whatever, when you cut hours short, it makes a big difference just missing hours like that. And for them to have a little more recuperation time than your club, it's a big advantage in a regional situation.
Yeah, it's huge, and just like I said, the energy and the emotion, I mean, you're beat up that time of year. Everybody's beat up that time of year anyways.
Yeah.
And I think it just caught up to us. But I mean, look, hats off to them. I think part of it was they're a really good team and their superstars played like superstars that day. And so anytime that happens, it's a struggle for you, even if we were on full rest. But like I said, doesn't take away from what we did. Doesn't make me feel different about young men. Really proud of our program and where we're at.
No, it sure doesn't. And like I said, this time of year, all those teams that are playing in there, Auburn only played 2 games, and they were hosting a tournament. So it's that kind of deal. We got a minute left in this segment. Coach, talk about the players, who you're leaving and who's coming back from that group. You got to replace a bunch of people?
Yeah, we lose the seniors, obviously. But no, I mean, I think we have a really good culture and a special culture. I think our players know what we're on the brink of doing here. We made history this year. I think they know there's more history we can make. I think they're bought in. They believe in it. We should have everybody back. We're losing Austin Kane at third base. We'll lose Zane Washington in center field. Wes Toops has decided to move on. He's graduated, so he has some eligibility left. But he's going to move on and start his professional career outside of baseball. And then you got Cade Evans, Chase Gearing, Tyler Terrio, Josh Mancuso. I'm going to miss a couple of them, but
Sorry.
all the seniors, we have 7 seniors. We're going to miss them, and but we feel like with the foundation that they helped lay, we've done a really good job filling those with equally talented players that can come in and make an impact for us.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Coach, hang on one second. We'll be right back with more Bayou Time right after this.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time Sports. Harry McCullough here. We're joined by the head coach of the Nichols Colonels, Michael Silva, the head baseball coach first time ever, I guess, that you guys won a Division I conference championship, and the first time since '98 we were talking about that you guys played in the NCAA. So good to see Jamie Pizzolata has a little company as far as having a coach lead a team to the postseason.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's been good to me since I've been here, and we get together and have some hamburgers at his house when we're both in town. Obviously, we both travel a lot for our schedules with recruiting and him being an agent. And he came and spoke to our team last year, and he poured his heart into them, and he gave them great information. And it meant a lot to me for him to take the time out of his day. And he comes to the ballpark when he can, when he's in town. And, yeah, to be in the same conversation as him in this community, it means a lot to me.
Yeah. Look, I have had some great coaches over the years, going back to Coach Calmes and Mike Knight and all the guys. We were talking a little bit beforehand. You can feel the presence of all those great older players that seem to be coming back to the program and lending their support to what you guys are trying to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, you got Scott Sanders and Mike Moeller, and you got Bobby Dickerson, and you got the Rafe Blades, and, all these alumni, all these folks that have been here from the past when this program was something special. And that's what we were trying to build. The amount of time, energy, finances. I mean, they've really supported us that way too. It's been incredible, and it takes all of us. And I think they know how I feel about them and how much gratitude I have towards them for just their support and their belief in what we're trying to accomplish and do. So it's been a lot of fun to be a part of.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand what you have to do to put together a baseball program nowadays. I mean, I kind of laugh a little bit about meeting Jamie back in 1998. I was in New Orleans at the time and came back and said, "Hey, man, what's your budget like?" And he's like, "Well, we got a couple of bucket of balls and we got to go raise the rest of it," right? That's kind of what you guys have to do on a college level. So that support from a community, trying to raise money, trying to, recruit players, that's all part of a program. It's not just whether you can, hey, don't drop your shoulder when you're swinging. There's a lot that goes into being a college coach nowadays, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's, you got to cultivate an audience. I think you have to be genuine. I think people see it if you're not genuine. But like I said, this community's embraced myself and my family with open arms, and they continue to support us. And so my hope is, and you hate to continue to ask people, but I want to make it better than it is now. I want to make it bigger. I wanted to make it a representation of our community, and our community is unbelievable. It's wonderful, and it's probably the best places to live in the country. And I want our baseball program to be one of the best in the country. And I think 18 months ago, people thought that sounded good. I think people now are starting to understand that's a reality, and that's what we're doing. And so I'm very grateful for them and their support, because we couldn't do it without them.
Well, we've seen it happen, Coastal Carolina, DBU, Dallas Baptist. We're starting to see a lot of these programs bubble up like this. They get the right kind of support and play in the right areas. And so it can be done. And, you can also see that college baseball is there for you guys, following what the football team has done. It's great to see Nichols as a community and the regional community starting to get these guys and starting to build these kind of programs.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, in the state of Louisiana in general, right? I mean, just look at the amount of Division I baseball programs we have in the state, and then South Louisiana. I always say South Louisiana is just athletics in general. I mean, I don't want to just put baseball in there, but there's so many great athletes in this area, and there's so many people that genuinely love sports and support it. And I think that's what makes universities great, not just sports, but extracurricular activities that kids can be a part of and they look forward to being a part of. And as we continue to grow this university, hopefully the baseball program is a big reason why.
Yeah, no doubt, Coach. So it's great to have that program back. So right now it's camp season, right? You got. I guess you got the heavy guys in, you got the lineman camp in, and you have the Manning camps in. Do you have a camp, and you going to have any of that kind of summer activities?
We do for sure. We have our first kids camp starting on Tuesday. It goes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week, and people are signing up. That's fun. I tell people all the time, there's nothing. You know what it's like when you see those young kids come out there. It's the genuine, most purest form of the game, and we do everything from practice fundamentals and play games to slide on a slip and slide and send them home soaking wet with their folks, which I don't know if they appreciate some days, but it's a lot of fun, and we look forward to that. And it's grassroots. It's everything that's good about baseball. I mean, those kids are worried about getting a snow cone. They're not worried about getting the next recruit. And so it's fun. It kind of puts you, it makes you, it grounds you as a coach, I think, sometimes, and really gives you perspective, which is really important.
Yeah, it really is. And that's always the bond between coaches, players, family members, and particularly now with travel baseball, it seems like that is that is what a family does now in the summer. Just they go travel around and play different sports, so that they become close like that, and that's building bonds that they'll remember the rest of their lives. Is that different for you guys, following travel teams and area code games and all that kind of stuff when it comes to recruiting, more so than the high schools?
Yeah, I don't know. I love high school baseball. I love high school sports. I mean, I'm a Friday night football guy. I love everything about high school sports and the community rallying around it. I mean, the select thing's a necessary evil now, and it's such high caliber baseball, and the kids get such exposure. It's different. I'm old school. I love the high school stuff. We can't be there all the time because they play when we play. Right. And so, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. We spend probably more time watching the select stuff, but that's not because I want to. I grew up playing Legion ball and those local battles, and I miss a lot of that stuff because now it's showcase and just go try to get a couple hits, and if we win, we win. We lose, we lose. And as you know, at this level, like if we win, that's great. If we lose, they're going to have somebody else talking to you right now. And so, winning and losing, I always say when the world treats winners different than it treats losers, and people can say whatever they want about that, but those are the facts. And so, you want to continue to produce so people still want you to do the job that you have. So that part of it, I think the kids don't get that much like we used to. They don't get that type of importance on that real competitiveness like we used to get.
I got you, Coach. Well, again, congratulations, man. It was a great run, and we all enjoyed watching. So thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having us on, all your support throughout the year, man. It's awesome. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll be right back with more Bite Time right after this.
What a great, great day for Terrebonne Parish. This is 5 years in the making. The project consists of 4,139 acres of shell donation for retention. The pump station is 4 48-inch pumps, which is 400 CFS, 250 horsepower electrical submersible motors. In other words, we're going electric on all our pump stations, less maintenance, and of course we got backup generators, a 1,250 kW backup generator. That's about the same size as the one that's sitting behind you right now with Rouse's. And also we want to thank Rouse's, the Donald Rouse family, and Donnie Rouse for letting us use their side of the canal. Total project we're looking behind us is $15 million, all borne by the Terrebonne Parish taxpayers. The mitigation, $2.6 million we had to mitigate out of this. The pump station itself cost, which is the first phase, $7 million, and then we're going to have $5.4 million in levies. The engineer was GIS. The contractor is going to be Lowland. Notice to proceed was May 17, 2023. It's 1 year, 365 days. Substantial completion May of 2024 before the next hurricane season. the project is going to hold 1.7 billion gallons of water. In other words, we get water from Lafourche Parish and North Terrebonne, and it all feeds into Bonanza Pump Station, Bayou Terrebonne to the Intercoastal. We can't take that water. Over the years, concrete's laid, Lafourche has grown, and all this water coming into here cannot go into Bayou Terrebonne, which we are in the process of dredging it. We're doing the engineering right now. And then on the other side is Whiskey Bayou, about 1.5 miles from here. All that goes in to Whiskey Bayou, then to Little Bar Black, and is pumped by the pump station by Sugarwood into the Intercoastal eventually. But when the Intercoastal's high, these systems don't drain. And that's the problem. The Intercoastal saves about 1.8 foot over what it did 40 years ago. So it'll give you a little insight so you can understand on the west side of the Intercoastal, some call it the north side of the Intercoastal, you have 3 drainage systems. The 11B drainage system, which is to our east, which is Broadmoor, Lisa Park, Maple Avenue, all the way to Nicholls State University. All that drains to a pump station by the Senac, off of 182 by Senac Towing, and the other one on Coteau. One of the first things we did in 2019, I believe it was, we went to the Corps and said, look, we need to lower the system because of subsidence and water rising. First time in the history of the Corps of Engineers, Morris P. Hebert handled the surveying work and all on it, and we were able to lower the system 9 inches. That's never been done before. And so if 9 inches don't sound like much, but when you're talking about 19 miles of St. Louis Canal, CCC ditch, CCC and what they call a 6-foot ditch behind Maple. So, okay, so we're going to start with the 11B. We've lowered that. We added pumps at Lisa Park and off St. Louis Canal, and they had a huge flooding problem. We corrected that by doing what we did here, working with Archie Chasson. He's cleaned out the canal from Nicholls State all the way to the other side of the Shreveport overpass. He's worked well with us, and I want to thank Archie for that. So now we get to the 11A system. This is what we have right here. This is good, like I said, this is going to stop. Bayou Cane goes underwater over here. Bayou Terrebonne overflows at a +9 because it can't take the water. So the retention will stop it from. We'll grab the water, put it in retention, and when the weather's down, the canals are down, it would automatically be opened by these automatic gates, and they're going to allow the water to be released. Remember, we just put a pump station on 311 by Sugarwood, so you're going to be pumped that way, and then Bonanza will pick it up after the storm event. So we're taking care of the 11A, which is from Bayou Terrebonne to 311. So now I'll go to 311 to Bayou Black to 182. That's the Chacahula Basin. We finished Hanson Canal, 1,000 CFS. Elliott Jones, which we'll be having a ribbon cutting on that in about 2 or 3 weeks. GIS Engineering did the engineering on both of those and did a wonderful job. And then way over here we have Bayou Black, which is permitted, which is off Geraldine Road, and we have a $12 million grant from the federal government. So that'll be moving along. That'll be 3,000 CFS that will take care of the Chacahula Basin. When I got elected, when it rained, we got 400 calls a day or more. And now that heavy rain the other day, we get 0 or very little. So we've accomplished what we came to do, and we're wrapping it up now. Of course, all of this works in conjunction with the Bonanza levee that doesn't allow us the storm surge to get to us here. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming, and I'd like to get Tony Alford up here to say a few words. Tony, President of the Levee Board.
Congratulations to everybody. people don't understand. I was in the back talking to somebody, telling them, well, Gordy knows more about this, and you know, between Gordy and O'Neill, the designing of this, a lot of that took place right here and right there, right? And it's just nice to see all the water that we're not going to have to worry about anymore. It's kind of bittersweet because when you don't flood for 15 years, flood protection is not important anymore, right? And so this process needed to take place. And it's why we concentrated on this with the levee board as well as the parish. And, you know, we hope people stay unconcerned about flood protection because that means we're not flooding. So I can't thank Gordy enough for all the work he's done to keep the water out. And we'll try to take it from keep it from coming in with the levee board. So thank you, Gordy.
We don't just come along here and say, okay, let's do a 4,000 acre retention and build a pump station here. It's done by models, and the model suggestion was done by O'Neill Marlborough with GIS, and that's when he came to me and said, look, we need about 4,000 acres, and together, me and him and the government got together, and we started working with Shell, and like I said, they graciously donated. So I'd like, O'Neill is really the brainchild of this. I'd like him to come up and say a few words on it.
This is a team effort that started 5 years ago when the problem was we sized the amount of rainfall that was coming into the system from the north and from Martin Luther King and from the development along in that growth. And they couldn't pass between the two bayous. We had two bayous, Bayou Terrebonne and Little Bayou Black, and all of that water had to get out. And so we said, well, can we just hold it for a little while? So this retention pond is going to take that rainwater. When the big rains come and we get 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of rain, if it's 1 or 2 inches, it's not a problem. When it gets to 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 9, then we have serious problems. We can hold the water here, let the water go down, let the intercoast, because usually when we have those rains, we have a south wind. Because the fronts that bring those rains generally come from the south side. So the water's not going to be high. We can hold the water and then release it as the Bonanza pump station can handle it. So, and I want to say, without Shell donating the property, this couldn't have happened. And Gordy, we looked around, and this was a perfect piece of property. It was owned by, in my opinion, the perfect company who was interested in donating to it. They did. So we really got to thank them for that, because without that, I'm really not sure how we'd have got all that water out there. We'd be digging channels and conveyance channels, and it would have cost us a lot more money than the $15 million the parish is putting up.
Last but not least, I'd like to say a few words would be Reggie Dupre, who, you know, it's so important that the parish and the levee board work hand in hand on all this stuff, and we have. And I mean, everything we do, we work together. If we have money, we share it with them. They don't give us much money back, but anyway, they spend it all, but that's a good thing. But no, we work hand in hand, and Reggie, I'd like to say a few words with Reggie.
Thank y'all, Gordy. You know, 20 years ago, when Gordy first got elected to the House of Representatives, I believe by 5 votes, he was very shy on the microphone. So I guess he's come around a lot. But this has been a great working relationship between the levee board and the parish government. We now doing things we thought we would never live to see. You know, this massive lock system, this connection. Tony just got word from the colonel that may be a possibility of us finally finishing the last 4 miles of Morganza between Houma and Dularge. We're working to close the gaps between Cutoff and Pointe-aux-Chenes. So we're going to have a complete, like, 90-mile system that we just piecemeal together over the last 20 years. So I want to thank y'all. Thank you, Gordy, for working with us. Thank you, Tony, for convincing me and pulling me out the Senate, because I think you made my last public service really, really successful, and thank you so much.
But besides all these pump stations, 2 lock systems, we replaced 10 concrete bridges, replaced and repaired 10 concrete bridges, miles of road, thousands of concrete panels, overlaid asphalt, curbing. We built the Sportsplex. If you get a chance, go see how beautiful it is. And we're buying 25 more acres to extend out there and put an arena on there with 4-H and with the LSU extension. We're working with them now. And we built that. We just finished landings in Chauvin, Berg. We got one in Montague we're working with Steve Trosclair on. And so, you know, when people look at, well, we do a lot of levees and we do a lot of floodgates and we do a lot of pump stations. We do everything else. We don't count it as much. You know, we got grass cutting crews on there. We keep up with the grass. We extending Valhalla from Savannah Road all the way to 90. That's going under engineering. So the Hollywood Road Bridge, we'll be groundbreaking that in about probably 3 or 4 weeks. That's almost a $4 million bridge across Southbound Mandalay to 182. So we do a lot of other things that build pump stations. But this, when I took office, Terrebonne Parish would go underwater, and it doesn't anymore. Thanks to the people here, and I saw Mr. Carly Harding just got here. Thank you for coming, Carly. Great councilman from this area. And but so let's come over here. We're gonna go ahead and break ground, and thank y'all. God bless everyone. God bless the people of Terrebonne Parish and the United States of America and our veterans. Thank y'all very much. Let's go. Thank y'all for coming. The next time we come here, it'll be to cut the ribbon.
I was listening to the numbers that you have done since you've been parish president. It's pretty astounding, but this is a very important project because it eliminates a lot of flooding that we've been seeing for a long number of years, and of course the reservoir behind it is pretty important. So your thoughts today? A great day, isn't it?
Well, you know, Martin, 7.5 years ago when I got elected and took office at Terrebonne Parish, our drainage system was so deplorable. I mean, I'm serious, 400 or 500 calls when it would rain, yards, garages, and some homes. And so that's like I said earlier, that's not our only mission, bridges, roads, and grass cutting, but that is the mission that a lot of people wanted to see happen. It's happening. This is $15 million of Terrebonne Parish funds. So it shows that you can fund things through the parish. Now, we still go to the state. We got federal money for Morganza finally from the feds, but this is 5 years in the making because we're going to levy off this 4,000 acres, and the Corps had to make sure, they wanted to make sure, and that's what O'Neill and them with GIS had to prove to them, that the swamp and freshwater marsh, and swamps and bottomland hardwood would stay pristine and viable, that we wouldn't harm vegetation, which we're not. We're going to actually grow it more.
And O'Neill, so that's a big thing. Of course, a lot of things become environmental as you're trying to get them done. And that's, so I guess an engineer is not only an engineer, it's an environmentalist too. You got to be a little bit of everything, don't you?
Exactly. In this particular case, it was the first of a kind. First time that we used 4,000 acres of wetlands to become a reservoir for the fresh water and for the drainage water coming out of the parish. So it was a tall step. As Gordy said, we had to pay $2.7 million worth of mitigation. He talked about primarily for the footprint of the levees, but also for some of the effects on the wetlands. But this was a great project, and again, I said it in my speech earlier. Gordy was able to discuss negotiate a free land deal from Shell, which was a large part of that. And so Shell needs to be really congratulated credit for that. I worked for Shell during my college days. I took a semester off because I needed some money and worked for Shell at Turtle Bayou. But in the meantime, it's really a good project. And looking back over the 7.5 years that Gordy's been there, it's amazing what the parish has been able to accomplish. I'm gonna just tell you, we talk about it, and I got to give him a lot of kudos. That when he talked about 31 pump stations in 7.5 years, that's like Reggie said in his speech. We never thought we would see that in our lifetime. To be honest with you, I'm getting close to 70 years old now, so I'm about ready to go off into the sunset. But in the meantime, that's a record that he can be real proud of for sure.
And Gordy, we used to cover stories. We would constantly be at the bridge by the mall, and residents would be complaining Bayou Terrebonne was overflowing. This sort of puts an end to this, doesn't it?
That, and it also, the Whiskey Bayou area used to go underwater. 311, 311, because we put that pump station by Sugarwood, but 311 used to almost get to those houses on 311 on the east side of that ditch to go down 311. And this is all to alleviate and store water and release it with these solar actuated gates that's going to be on both sides. 3 on the east side, 3 on the west side, that will automatically open and release water when the levels in the canal is at a certain elevation. And it would drain. Another good thing, which as you know, Bayou Terrebonne is stagnated because it doesn't flow. It will help flush out Bayou Terrebonne, and we're on a process, in fact GIS is doing the engineering of trying to dredge it, but it's very complicated because you've got a lot of rotten bulkheads, buildings right on top of the canal, of the Bayou Terrebonne, so it's a very lengthy time, but we do have $8.3 million to dredge it, so that's not a pie in the sky. That will happen. It's just going to take some time to permit it with the Corps.
Just final question. You said you were getting 400 or 500 calls. When a flooding event occurred? And
heavy rain.
And what is it now?
0. Maybe 1 or 2. And if that's the case, their culverts are stopped up. Okay. So we do get like anything else, you're gonna get a couple calls, but the culverts are stopped up. We are draining Terrebonne Parish. Another thing has been in their mind as well as the engineers' mind as well as mine. We will get a 25, 30-inch rain one day. Right. Might be next week and might be 25 years. But when you get it, we are going to be prepared. So you cannot overbuild pump stations. Right. Hey, you had 54 inches hit Houston. South Carolina, North Carolina had 25 inches. Fort Lauderdale in Florida the other day had 28 inches of rain and everything flooded. Our goal is to be able to take that kind of rain and get it out of here and the people not flood. We can handle heavy rain now. We can handle storms now. Now we're pushing ourselves for the 1,000-year events.
And I'm going to let O'Neill continue. Remember Teddy Dewey in office when he had 14 or 15 inches in one swoop, and it was tough.
Yeah, one of the other things we talked a little bit, but this project also includes putting culverts on the side of Savannah Road and having a pumping system to pump Savannah Road into the reservoir.
Good point.
So there's on the north side of Savannah Road is a number of catch basins and culverts and a pump system that will pump into the reservoir and keep the road dry during the rainfall event. So
let me ask you something. We used to stop on Savannah. Of course, Gordy, you were living down there and had business down there, but with all that estuary now, the crawfish should be bigger, right?
Yeah, they ought to be. It ought to be, and if not, they're going to grow.
Yeah. I might have to stop on Savannah and catch a few. Congratulations, guys. A great job, and it's looking good.
Thank you, boy. Right. And we look forward to building it.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, and welcome to Bayou Time Sports. I'm Martin Falls. What a treat we have for you today, because standing by on the other end is Gavin Dugas. There you see him. Very, very well-poised young man, and of course had a great career at Houma Christian, and he has excelled at LSU. So a lot of people in this area and people now on a national basis know about Gavin Dugas. So Gavin, there's no secret anymore. When you were coming up through high school and you were having great years and great career, you know, people were looking at you. The colleges were looking at you. But now you've been on national TV and you've done some spectacular things. So just first of all, congratulations on a great season and a great career. And it's good to have you on our program today.
I appreciate it. It's glad to be on.
Let me ask you this. Your career at LSU up to this point, you could have vacated. You could have went and played some professional baseball. But let's talk about, first of all, what made you stay? And I think we know the answer because it's upcoming in the next few days. But in your own words, what made you stay?
Absolutely. No, it's always been a dream of mine to play LSU baseball. And honestly, there's no other thing like it in the world for me whenever it comes to playing a sport, playing for somebody that you've always wanted to play for. And it's just such an opportunity that I want to take as much advantage of as I can. And having the opportunity to be here for 5 years is something I'm so grateful for and I will always cherish. So just having the opportunity to continue to keep coming back, pro ball is always going to be there. That's one of my biggest things. And LSU is a thing where you can stop, but you can't stay for forever. So having the opportunity to keep coming back is something that I had no problem with taking advantage of for sure.
You know, everybody you talk to in this area, and when you bring up Gavin Dugas, they all say the same thing. He's a fine young man. He's a great young man. He's just very down to earth. It's got to be humbling in a way, but you know, at the same time, it's probably has a lot on how you were brought up and your mom and dad and people around you. So isn't that a great compliment to hear?
Absolutely. No, I mean, I give all the credit to my parents and my family. I wouldn't be where I am without them. My mom and dad have been the two best parents that I could ever ask for. And I'm so grateful for them. And like I said, the position I am in right now is because of them, because of the time they put into me, my brother, my family, all my loved ones, and the time that they put into the sport of baseball and letting me travel and giving me the opportunity to be able to afford the things that I've been able to kind of have. So I'm really appreciative of them, and I can't be more thankful for that.
You know, you've excelled, and now you're excelling at the college level. But for us high school guys that just didn't play college ball, we always had superstitions. We always had to do things. I remember when I was high jumping, my mom would pack honey in my duffel bag. Before football games, I had rituals. We had rituals for everything. We wanted to make sure that we didn't change anything because it might be bad luck. Do you have superstitions about how you get dressed, your practice rituals? What are some of yours?
I wouldn't say I have too many crazy superstitions. My big one this year is getting coffee. I'm a big coffee getter in the mornings, whether it be midday or early in the mornings before an early game. But me and Dylan Cruz, we have this thing where I get him coffee every morning, and we have our same ritual where we drink them together, and just that's how we start our days. So that's kind of been my thing this year, no matter where we've been, at home or on the road so far, that I've noticed.
So you gotta keep those things working when they work, for sure. And
absolutely.
Speaking of Dylan, what's that relationship like? Because y'all are two very well-known names, but of course, when you have that many, you know, I guess guys that stand out on the same team, where in high school you were getting all the attention. Now everybody gets the attention. So y'all sort of share the glory, don't you?
Honestly, I let him have all that. That's something that being with the best player in the country is hard for him to have to take on. But I mean, it comes with being so good, and he handles it so well. He's a great person, and it's an honor to be able to call him my teammate for the last 3 years. But our relationship's been great. I would say we got a lot closer this year for sure. We've been hanging out a lot more outside the field. Our girlfriends are pretty close and almost best friend status, it seems. So that kind of helps in us being able to hang out a lot. But no, I wouldn't want to surround myself with a better person than Dylan, because he's hands down probably one of the greatest people that I've ever met.
You know, when I was watching y'all the other day, it just seems like the bats are starting to come alive. And, I mean, we all know in baseball, they can go dormant for a little while. It can be individually or as a team, but has there been any talk, or do you talk about it, because you don't want to jinx yourself, but the bats started really coming alive, but that had to spread like wildfire with the psyche, right?
No, I'd say it's hitting's pretty contagious from what I've seen in my career. But at the end of the day, you know, we're just trying to do what we're capable of doing, and trying to keep the game as simple as possible. I mean, I really don't have much more to say about it other than that, because like I said, it's something that we expect out of ourselves, and that's just how we come to the field and expect to play.
All right, so what we're going to do, we'll take a break here, right here on Bayou Time Sports, but when we come back, we have 2 more segments with Gavin Dugas. He's been gracious with his time, and he's allowed us to get in between games here, so we'll take a break. We'll be right back with someone I know this area and really the whole state and a lot of the region very proud of, so we'll be back with Gavin Dugas.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we're back. We're talking with Gavin Dugas, LSU standout, and they're just getting ready. They're peaking again. It seems like the cylinders are warming up. They're ready to go. So, Gavin, let me take you back. We're going to roll in a grand slam at Houma Christian, and there you see it over CCA, and that's back in the day. And Gavin, I'm not sure if you're seeing it in Baton Rouge, but we're watching it here for sure. And many home runs. It's special. And what we'll do now, we'll come back to Gavin, because I'm curious, and we'll run in some of the other home runs at LSU while you're answering this question. But when you are at bat and you make that good connection, do you know right away that you've hit the sweet spot, or is it something you have to look at for a second to see where it's going, or is it instantaneous?
There's some swings that some people may feel that. In my particular case, there's a couple for me that I got to make sure I get over the fence, so I don't ever have to take the shame of jogging around the bases too early, because that's kind of one of my low-key paranoid thoughts, because I did that in high school one time, and I hit a homer, and I thought it was a home run. I'm sorry, I didn't hit a home run, which I thought was a home run, and I had to take the shame of going around the bases that way, and I kind of vowed to myself never to do that again. So, but there is moments where you do hit balls that you know have a good chance of getting over. So yeah, for sure.
That one you hit against Oregon State that really put your team in that great situation. What does that do for your confidence? Because hitters, it's all about confidence when you get up there, and we all know hitters can have ups and downs, but you came roaring back. What did that do for you?
No, baseball is a really big game of failure. Obviously, I mean, from the statistics, you fail 7 out of 10 times, and you're a Hall of Famer. So for a baseball player and athlete in general, it's really, really key to kind of be as even keel as possible through the highs and lows of your game. So just being able to succeed in that moment obviously was a very big boost to my confidence. Very, very heartwarming moment to help my team get in a better position to win that game. But at the end of the day, no, just trying to stay as even keel as possible when it comes to success and failure, hitting home runs or not doing anything like that.
Do you pinch yourself sometimes and go, wow, I mean, I have had a pretty good life up to this point?
Absolutely. No, I'm so thankful for the position that I'm in, the people that I've met. The Lord has blessed me in so many ways. And it's so much adversity, success, and failure. I'm so thankful for the feet and the place that I am in life. And I thank the Lord every day for that. But I can't be more thankful for this situation. I still get goosebumps sometimes when I see all those fans in the stadium. And I've been here for 5 years, so that should show you how much of an impact it has on us as players.
Yeah, how do you stay grounded or level-headed? Look, we've covered so many people over the years, and some handle it so gracefully, and others, they sort of get out the box, but you've been able to hold it in check. How have you done that?
My biggest thing is just sticking to the situation, staying where my feet are, never letting the situation in front of me get bigger than our plan. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's ever helped me in baseball and in life. Just not looking past anything, just staying in the present, not looking to the future or the past. I really harp on just trying to stay on the pitch. Just win one pitch at a time, and that'll take care of the rest. And it kind of gets you through the game in a good way and helps you be as competitive as possible.
You're getting a chance to play some of your, final games. Hope it's not the final games, but in Tiger country. And what does that mean to be at home and to sort of close out a big part of your career right there at Tiger, in Tigerland?
Absolutely. No, LSU's obviously my home. I've been here long enough to be able to say that. I talked to Kate Beloso, one of my best friends and current teammates, who's in the same situation as me. And no matter how the outcome this weekend goes, this is our last 3 games in the box. It's kind of a moment that it hits you pretty well. But I mean, for me to be the player that I want to be, I can't really get too deep into that because I want to be as successful as possible as I can for this team. So I'm going to have to stay in the moment as much as possible. And when the time comes, I'll be able to take it all in. But I'm so focused on playing on Saturday that I just haven't been trying to get into those thoughts yet.
What do you have to say? Final question, because we're running a little bit out of time, but what do you have to say to everybody who followed your career and everybody from Houma and everybody who just, fell in love with your career and you as a person? What do you have to leave them with?
Absolutely. No, thank you for that. Even putting that out there for me. And I can't be more thankful for the support of my family, friends, fans, everyone out there that's had an impact on my life. And let me impact theirs in any form or shape or imagination. I'm forever grateful, and I hope that you continue to be able to impact me as well. I'm so thankful for the support from fans in general, and I just can't be more thankful for this situation.
Well, Gavin, we appreciate you joining us and taking a little time for us at HTV. So proud of you, and we're going to be tuned in. A lot of people would be tuned in. But regardless, you've had a great career. You've been a great person and a great role model. And I'm hoping some of the younger kids seeing this, they understand that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. God bless.
All right. God bless you. Gavin Dugas, folks. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, welcome back. We continue our conversation with Gavin Dugas, an LSU standout in baseball. And, of course, a lot of you all remember him in his high school career at Houma Christian. And certainly we're going to get to that in a little bit. But let me ask you, Gavin, when you're moving in the lineup, batting lineup, and, sometimes you're up in the lineup, sometimes you're in back of the lineup, all about strategy, coaching strategy, where do we want to move some of the players, all about if you're hot or not. And also, when you're moving positions, infield to outfield. Any preference to you on both offense or defense on where you'd rather be?
No, not really. No, I'm a big, just put me in the spot you need me to be most successful in and whatever it takes to win that day. So I'm more of a just kind of plug and play guy. If you need me to go somewhere, need me to do something different in lineup or bunt or hit and run or whatever, it's just something I just try to embrace every day and just whatever it takes to win. It's pretty much my mindset.
You know, we see all you guys on TV, and we're watching the games religiously, and we're all trying to work sometimes because y'all playing in the afternoon, but we're peeking at the TV, and everybody's into it. But you're seeing all the crews, you know, Trey Morgan, Tommy White, Travinsky, all these guys. Who's the one on the team that keeps it light? Who's sort of like the clown of the team?
No, that's a tough one. We have a bunch of comedians on our team. It seems our team's very very comfortable with one another whenever we're just in a big group. But I'd say Milazzo, Beloso, Travinsky, those three guys come to mind the most about how when it comes to just kind of being light, being funny, cracking jokes, you know, just keeping the team just loose. Those guys are pretty funny, if I had to say, most of all.
Yeah. And when you made that move from Houma Christian to LSU, and of course, we all know that the talent level is going to increase and all that, but how was that morphing into, you know, you knew you were a good athlete. I mean, it's obvious. Everybody around you was telling you that. You knew it. You had the stats, but then you go into LSU, and everybody's got a pretty good game at LSU. So how long did it take you to really fit in and become comfortable?
I'd say my whole freshman year was kind of a big adjustment phase for me. But like you said, coming into a program or a team where everybody's the best guy from their school or organization, it's kind of like something that you have to learn and understand that, like, hey, you're coming into a group of guys that are just as good as you are, if not better. So it's either you decide to work harder or you decide to slack off and not commit to the grind of getting better. So it's something that you kind of have to take upon yourself to embrace, and that's something I'm very thankful of. My freshman year was it's a big shell shock going from a high school of 500 kids, K through 12, to a school of 25 to 30,000 people. So I mean, it took a big growing up phase for me.
Yeah, and how did it feel as you were looking across? Maybe I was so focused, y'all didn't see any of the game. Nichols was playing Alabama, and Nichols took them right to the end of it. But to have a college, you know, only a few hops, skipping a jump away from you, playing at that level had to make you feel pretty good also.
Oh, absolutely. No, I was fortunate enough to be able to watch that game because we played so earlier in the day. I know they had a couple of rain delays or whatever, but no, I became a fan that night when they played. Just watching Nichols, kind of a little bit of a hometown thing. I know Houma's not the closest to the university, but it was pretty awesome to see, and I was definitely rooting for him to be successful in that moment.
You stuck it out all these years, and I'm really sort of using you as a poster athlete for the rest of the athletes that all want to, you know, sort of forego some of their college career and they'll take that quick check. But you thought it out. You decided to stay, and you spent more than enough years at LSU, but there was a reason. And I sort of wanted you to explain in your own words, what was that, you know, final decision, and what was the motivation to stay? And here you are now, you know, with the culmination of a career, and just put it in your own words.
I mean, yeah, no, me and Coach Johnson had a really good talk at the end of last year, not knowing how the draft would go due to all my injuries and everything. But at the end of the day, I was 100% bought into coming back, and there's a lot of reasons behind it. You know, just having an opportunity to compete for LSU again is something that I will always cherish, and if I ever continue to have the opportunity to, I would take advantage of. But no, I love the idea of competing for the Tigers because it just feels like home. You know, this is my place, this is my city. Outside of Houma. So, I mean, that meant a lot to me as well. And I love being close-knit with a group of guys and competing for one another. You know, I think college baseball takes that to a different level on how we compete just because we're trying to win. You know, we're not getting paid to do a job. We're getting paid to play the game of baseball and enjoy it. You know, like we're college athletes that are showing up and doing the same thing every day, going through the grind of early morning workouts and fall practices and the long days of hot summers and all that fun stuff. And, you know, that's just something that I love to embrace and enjoy with my teammates and make new friends along the way.
All right, what we'll do, we'll take one last break. We'll come back with Gavin Dugas. We're going to showcase some of his home runs. We're going to go back to Houma Christian and show you a very special home run he had. And we'll talk more with the standout athlete at LSU. But we remember him when he was in Houma, Louisiana. Great athlete, great human being, comes from a good background. We'll be right back with Gavin. Don't go away.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrible and Home Care. Very glad you're joining us as we bring you some breaking news. And as a social worker in our community, I got to tell you, it's alarming, but I'm very glad to have with us Chief Travis Terrio. Chief, thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
And again, we're coming on the heels of maybe one of the worst 2 weeks that we've seen with some of these overdoses. Tell us a little bit about what we're experiencing in the community.
So over the last couple of weeks, we started noticing an increase in the amount of overdose deaths and overdoses in general that people have survived.
Right.
And it's pretty alarming what we're seeing. We're up to 7 overdose deaths that have quickly come upon us. And that's not including the ones that people have survived.
Right.
And they were revived with Narcan. With that information, our narcotics agents were able to compile some information and provide some different photos that we pushed out this morning through the police department, just kind of telling people what to look for.
And these are fentanyl overdoses.
This is all fentanyl-related overdoses, and they're selling pills as something that's authentic, and it's not.
Right.
In no way, shape, or form does the Houma Police Department condone illegal narcotics use, right? But we don't want to lose any more citizens. You know, we understand that, you know, there's an illness out there and people are addicted, and we're trying to reach out and help people, but we don't want to see any more of our citizens dying.
And we're even seeing, and just because I have colleagues and because I'm in the field, that we have people that are actually getting treatment that are really still not aware of what maybe is a real or isn't a real pill that they're taking. So it's important to be able to do that. So flash those back one more time, if you don't mind. Chief, let us know some of these, if you don't mind. This is an authentic fentanyl.
Right. And this is
authentic oxycodone versus a fake one.
And this data is some stuff that our guys were able to research and pull off the internet. But there's a authentic one to the left, and then to the right in the photo is an example of what a fake one looks like, you know. But if you have to take medication, you should not take medication from anyone other than a pharmacy.
Right. That's prescribed by your doctor.
Prescribed by your doctor and obtained through a pharmacist.
Right.
You know, and this
is. So here is a Xanax.
That's a Xanax with an example of the real one, and then I think that's the fake one at the bottom. If I'm not mistaken.
The next one. Right. So that's the fake one.
Yeah.
And so you can see how it's broken up by the bars. But again, don't be buying Xanax or oxycodone or Oxycontin and don't be getting it from anywhere other than from your pharmacy, as you mentioned, ordered by your physician. I mean, it's just, you're putting yourself at risk. We're letting the public know you're putting yourself at risk. 7 fentanyl deaths, overdose deaths in 2 weeks is 7 too many.
Yeah, what we're telling you is, look, you keep messing with fentanyl, you're going to die.
It's way
we don't
too
know.
strong.
It's too strong. It's dangerous. You know, you shouldn't be purchasing anything on the street and taking it. You know, don't put your life at risk and put your family in this position after bury you.
That's exactly right. And so again, we've experienced 7 overdose deaths, and we don't come on and talk about just some of the overdoses, but there's a whole lot more overdoses where, because of the efforts that have been made in identifying Narcan, getting Narcan out quickly, and you and your teams have done that in our community, but we've got so many more that we're saving lives. 7's too many.
That's exactly right. And let me tell you this. There's not enough that I can say about our narcotics team and our investigators and our police officers at the Houma Police Department. They're working diligently to do everything they can to put a dent in it.
Right.
You know, I don't know if we can stop it, but we're going to do whatever we can to, you know, maybe save one person.
Right.
And we're trying to resolve it, but our investigators are doing everything they can.
And the other thing that we're doing, I'm asking people to think about the fact that some of these people, and I've known several that have had young children, several that have kids, and everybody's got a family. I ask you to think about, before you go and make a decision like that, and I guess this is just a shout out to our community, before you go and make a decision to go and get drugs off of the street, knowing the chief is telling us, the narcotics division is telling us, a lot of these have fentanyl in them, and you can't tell. It's hard to tell a difference between what is that real Oxycontin and what is the one that's got fentanyl in it, and people are dying at an alarming rate. Again, Chief mentioned it, don't put your family through that. Don't put yourself through that. Go and get the help that you need for your addiction if you have it. There's a lot of help that's out there. We know the drug court and a lot of our facilities that provide some of those things, they want to help. Y'all want to help. We're trying to save lives, but the people on the street don't care about that. They're trying to get these drugs out and sold and make some money off of people that are dying.
Yeah. Look, pharmacists, they go to school for years. I doubt that the street level pharmaceutical representative knows much about what he's doing. He does not care about you.
He or she.
And he or she does not care about you. And they just worried about making their money.
Right.
But I can tell you, our officers, they're working diligently.
Right. And they're partnering. They're trying to work with these different agencies, working
absolutely.
with.
We're working with all of our local, state, federal agencies. Everybody's working together with a common goal, and it's just we're trying to resolve it. And we've seen more inside the city for whatever reason than anywhere else.
Here of late. And so for people out there, you want to make sure that you are being diligent. The other thing is, let's be good stewards of our family members and do what we can to help them rather than letting them go and do some of these things where maybe you've seen this on HTV, you've seen Chief come on and talk about it, finding out what they're doing with their narcotics division and trying to help. Go and do something and be something for the positive. Go ahead. Final thought, Chief.
Last month was Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
We pumped out a lot of good information. We pushed out a lot of resources to everyone. Use the resources. If you need help, reach out and get the help. If you know someone needing help, reach out to them.
Appreciate it. Chief, thank you for your time as always. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A lot more Bayou time when we continue.
Of course, we all know about the plight of levees and water control structures and flood control devices here in Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish. Let's concentrate on Terrebonne today. Coastal Day here in Terrebonne Parish. A lot of dignitaries starting to gather. A lot of work has been done. I don't want to say millions of dollars. I want to say billions of dollars that have gone to help the flooding problem here in the parish. We caught up with several officials today to talk about what this means to the parish and how much longer and how much further we need to go till we can I say totally rest? Never, but to rest because of storm floods.
So moving on here a little bit. So we want to present a few awards. I want to say something in the process of doing this. Gordy appointed me to the levy board, almost 20 years ago now. I was young when he appointed me. And, I'm so proud of him and what he's done, as not only as a state rep, but as a parish president. We used to go do fun stuff. We go out of town with our wives and stuff, right? And we go on trips. And Gordy was always so worried to leave more than 2 days because that meant that the council member would take over and be in charge after, was it 2 days, Gordy? Something like that? So I don't think he's left more than 2 days in the last 8 years because he wanted to be in control. And I've never seen anybody, I always tell my wife, and my wife showed up here just recently. I don't know where there you are, my grandbaby and all. And I always tell my wife, I'm so proud of him because the one thing on his mind all the time, no matter what takes place, is Terrebonne Parish and how to build pump stations, get the water out, and build levees, Morganza and the interim levees. And so the first award we want to give is to Gordy Dove for all the years of his service And Reggie, we had you all food, huh, Gordy? You thought it was from somebody else, huh? Yep. So this is so basically from Tanner McGee, all the state legislator. Z, come up here, man. Come over here. Ongeron, y'all good? Come on, y'all come over here. All right. And so what it says, State of Louisiana House of Representatives, it says, whereas boy, I can't even see anymore. It is most fitting to recognize Gordon E. Dove and to commend his public service to the citizens of Terrebonne Parish in the state of Louisiana. Whereas Gordon E. Dove has dedicated the past 20 years of his life to safeguarding and revitalizing the Louisiana coast, leaving an indelible impact on his community, state, and nation. And whereas Mr. Dove served as a state representative from 2004 to 2016, during which time he had admirably, chaired the House Committee on Natural Resources. We're going to have to hold this up. All right, here we go. And played a vital role in the creation of the Office of Coastal Protection Restoration, Act 523, which later evolved into the Coastal Protection Restoration Authority. And whereas recognized the crucial importance of coastal protection and restoration to Louisiana, Mr. Dove spearheaded the passage of key legislation such as the Barry Island Protection and Restoration Program and Fund, and the Coastal Passes Protection and Restoration Program and Fund. Whereas through his career, Mr. Dove further demonstrated his commitment to the betterment of Louisiana's coast by authorizing legislation that secured over $1 billion in funding for coastal restoration and protection, and that ensured the implementation of vital projects aimed at preserving our valuable marsh habitats and defending against erosion and hurricanes. Whereas Mr. Dove's recent leadership during the devastating Hurricane Ida showcased an unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of the people of Terrebonne Parish, effectively coordinating efforts to secure floodgates and water control structures, implementing necessary measures to mitigate damage, and working diligently in the storm's aftermath to facilitate recovery and rebuilding, all of which contributed to protecting the community and the storm's destructive impact. Therefore, says Tanner McGee, do hereby commend Gordon E. Dove for his public services to the citizens of Terrebonne Parish in the state of Louisiana. Do hereby further recognize his unwavering commitment to the coastal protection and restoration and community development, which has made an immeasurable difference for the state and exemplifies the highest ideals of public services, and do hereby extend sincerest wishes that he continue to prosper in all of his endeavors for many years to come.
Thank you. Well, I really came over here to give an award, and I ended up getting one, so thank y'all, each and every one of you. I really wasn't expecting it, and like I said, I was here to read an award for somebody else, and I'm really, really shocked at this. I've enjoyed, I've enjoyed and I've worked along with all these guys and gals up here to make Terrebonne Parish a better place, to make Louisiana a better place. And, we brought in over $1 billion, and, Terrebonne's a safer place today. So thank y'all. God bless y'all. And I really wasn't expecting this. Thank y'all.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System's Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Now Now time to bring up another fifth-year player also who has earned 2 LSU degrees during his fantastic playing tenure. He's played just about every position on the field except pitcher and catcher during his LSU career. From Houma, Louisiana, Gavin Dugas. So Gavin produced the very first run of many runs scored by the Tigers in Omaha when he hit the home run against Tennessee in the opener. And he also homered in Game 1 of the National Championship Series against Florida. Let's take a look.
The 2-1 in the air, down the line, in left, giving chase, and this ball is into the bullpen. Gavin Dugas with his second home run here at Omaha, and the Tigers lead 2-0. Hey now.
Gavin, you guys had such a remarkable offensive season. Just 1 through 9, there was such balance and power throughout the lineup. Just your thoughts on what it was like to be in a lineup with the guys of that caliber.
At the end of the day, it's just awesome to be able to be a part of a team like this. And when you see 1 through 9 every day as a pitcher, an opponent, I get really nervous. And I always get nervous for our opponents just because of the caliber of talent that we have, not only 1 through 9, but on the bench. Guys that get up and get ready to play like that just shows you how good and how well coached we are. So it just gives a credit to the coaching staff and the ability level of the players.
So Gavin, in 2021, as you know, fans led the SEC in RBI. In 2022, had to battle through a lot of injury, but still by the end of the season was making major contributions to the Tigers at the NCAA Regional. This year, hard to believe he wasn't even in the starting lineup when the season began, but worked his way back to a position of prominence. Tigers starting second baseman, one of the leaders of the club. Gavin wearing that number 8 jersey now for 2 years. Just tell us what it has meant to you to be a part of that program and to be in that leadership position.
There's no greater university than LSU. We're the best. Coming to this place, being from Houma, Louisiana, it's always been a dream come true. And being able to wear a number 8 is just an honor that I dreamed about every night. You know it. And you guys make it so special. My teammates, my coaches, being here for 5 years, it's been home. So at the end of the day, it's just such a great position, and I'm really thankful from the Lord just to be able to be here today and talk to you guys, and it's just awesome. I love you guys.
Thank you so much, Gavin. Congratulations.